this is it. This is the beginning of a series of coaching sessions for Pogchamps number 2. Hello, hello, hello. At the end of August, starts on the 21st of August, but the weeks before the actual tournament matter just as much, because these are the weeks when we can help the streamers, gamers who will participate in the event to get better at chess. So Hafu will be joining us shortly. I'm really excited. She's a Hearthstone legend. Absolutely wholesome streamer, and she has been so enthusiastic and dedicated in terms of her chess improvement. I'll need to praise her about that, because it's true. I think she's the most dedicated Pogchamp. I think she is the most dedicated to her chess learning. She is absolutely impressive. I'm gonna tell you guys shortly more about her, and she'll be on the call with us very soon. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you now.
Yay!
Yes, thank you. It was indeed the headphones. Sorry, I'm just a big boomer. I have a boomer count on my channel because that's how often I do things wrong with technology.
No,
Everything that can go wrong. So nice to meet you.
Yeah,
so
nice to meet
you.
Thank you for
I was telling my
me.
community. Oh, no worries. I was just going to tell you that I was saying earlier to my community that I've never seen a Pogchamp as dedicated as you. Like, it's insane the amount of effort you're putting into your chess improvement. You literally stream 8 to 12 hours a day studying chess, and even when you're not streaming, you're solving puzzles on your phone, watching tutorials, and I've never seen a person this dedicated.
Well, thank you, but it feels kind of bad because it feels like I'm still not progressing even with all the work. But I think the thing about chess is that even though you're constantly getting better, there's like so many pieces to it that, like, I don't know, it just feels like every game is so fragile. Like one wrong move and it's all over. So even though I feel like I'm gaining more and more knowledge, it still doesn't really feel like I'm getting better, which is sad.
I totally get that feeling, especially since you're studying so much. Sometimes it can feel that you're getting more and more information and input and knowledge, but in practice you don't always see the effect immediately, and sometimes it almost feels like you are worse than before.
Yeah.
But it's gonna work out in the end. It's gonna work out in the end. It's a learning curve, and I think you're doing the right thing by solving puzzles, by doing drills, by having all sorts of coaching sessions. So you're definitely on the right track, and keep being motivated, because that's the main thing, that you should be enjoying learning and you should enjoy playing, and then the rest will come.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm definitely having fun learning. I was trying to break down some of the stuff because, like, right now, being a new player, it feels like I literally need to improve on everything. Like, there's not one thing I'm good at. So I started doing drills yesterday, and that helped a lot. Like, I saw it pay off right away, doing, like, the end game fundamentals. So, like, my end game got so much better just from doing a couple drills, which I was super happy about.
I was watching some of your stream live, and later I went back to watch parts of the VOD of the drills, because I was really curious how you were doing in the end games. And I think that's something that we will start with today, because I thought that it was really impressive. It was really impressive, first of all, because you're so stubborn that if you cannot solve it, you go back and you do it again, and even once you have it, you go over and over again just to make sure that you have the right practice. So I admire that. I admire that, definitely, the approach.
Thank you. Yeah, I bang my head into
But
things.
I also thought that the other thing I was thinking that it must be also really confusing for you that you have so many of the coaching sessions, and also you study a lot on your own. So what I thought that will be one of my main objectives when we train is that I will try to help you sort everything out in terms of, just so that there's no mess and chaos about all the knowledge and input that you have. So we're going to try to organize everything and break it down to the fundamentals, because you learn so much, but that sometimes the information can be even too much. So we're gonna just make sure that everything that you have learned so far is in the right place, and that you don't need to second guess your moves or your technique.
Oh, sounds good. That sounds really good. Yeah, I
I'm
have
glad.
learned a couple different openers, but now I think I'm focused on. Well, I know the London pretty well, but now I'm trying to play the. Oh, I always forget. Is it the Italian or the Spanish? It's when the bishop doesn't go as far.
I think you were showing Hans the Italian. The bishop going to c4.
Yeah, c4, c4.
Was that the bishop going to c4 in?
Yes.
Actually, let me open an analysis board, and then we can.
It's
show
king. It's
the viewers
e4,
as well.
and then it's g. Oh, f3, knight to f3, and then it's bishop to c4, and then it's.
I'm inviting you to an analysis board if you
maybe
see an
throw.
invitation. I think Hafu Chess is your chess.com username.
Yes, let me go
Is that correct?
to. I haven't gotten it just yet. I think.
Are you in live chess on chess.com?
Yes, chess.com/live.
Yes, and your username is Hafu Chess. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yep.
Or am I adding someone else? Maybe
It
not
should be
your
Hafu
one.
Chess.
Yeah. Did you
Oh,
see
I
an
see it now. I
invite
see
to
it.
an
I just-
analysis
yeah.
board?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Yeah, I see you now joining. Yes, you can move the pieces, I believe. Try to move one of the pieces.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So you were saying that the opening that you learned is the Italian or the Spanish. I think it's the Italian, but you can show me the first few moves if you
Sure,
remember
yeah.
them by heart.
Oh, should I move the black pieces too?
I can move the black pieces for you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the Italian. Very good. And after this bishop move, your response is...
to castle.
Huh? That's good. That's good. I think it's great to start with an opening like this because I think you already know the opening principles, and many of them you are already accomplishing with these first four moves. So you are taking control of the center with this e4 pawn push. You have developed your two minor pieces, the knight and the bishop, and you castle. And castling is so important. Many beginners don't castle, and they just lose the game because their king gets stuck in the middle of the board. Those files will open up, and their king will be really exposed and vulnerable. So castling is as simple as it is. It's crucial, and it's great that you do it at an early stage of the game, so you make sure that the king will not get into trouble.
Yeah. And then I think Chiyu liked when I pushed the c pawn forward, and then eventually pushed if they move their knight out to attack my e4, then I moved the d pawn up. Oh my god, I'm so bad at talking in chess notation.
Oh, no worries, because it takes quite some time to get used to the name of the squares and look at the coordinates. I think I understand what you mean. So, for instance, if black plays this move...
I do this in response. I think.
Very good. So you are protecting your pawn, and at the same time you are opening up the diagonal of your bishop so that you can develop it later
Yeah.
on this diagonal. I've seen a couple of your games, and I think you like to place the bishop here
Yeah.
to pin the knight, which is, I think, a really good idea. It is really a good idea in the Italian. I'm going to make a few moves for black, and I'd like you to just continue as if it was your game with the white pieces. You don't have to recall what Chiyu taught you move by move, just how you would continue if it was your game.
Oh, I mean, I kind of like her idea is to push this forward. Oh, let me think. Yeah, it was to push this forward.
Yes. Yeah, so you can play with c3 and d4. I think this is what Chiyu taught you. Another thing you can do if you want to be tricky with the move order. So c3 is good. You can choose that. I'm just going to show you an alternative in case you want to change the move order. And you can change this between games too. So imagine in the tournament when if your opponent prepares and they see that you have been learning this opening, and you play it sometimes with c3, or sometimes you develop the bishop first. But if you develop the bishop first, that has an extra option for you in a way that, let's say black plays the same pawn move that you did earlier to develop the light squared bishop.
I can just do this.
You can still choose. Yeah, exactly. Very good. Why do you make that move? I was curious if you would play it.
Yeah, because the queen, when they move the D pawn up, then they open their bishop diagonal, and it's kind of scary, and it stops both the knight and the bishop from jumping to G4.
Exactly. That's really good. I'm so impressed that you played H3 instantly after you have seen the bishop.
I hate when this is attacked by both. So I remember that one.
That is brilliant, because if you hate it, then your opponents will hate it too. Oh, you have a lovely dog, by the way.
Oh, I'm just here. Oh, I didn't even see her sneak in. Thank you.
What's her name?
Her name is Jubs. It's kind of a dumb name.
Nice to meet you, Jubs.
She's shy.
Oh, adorable. I was just saying that if you hate when the bishop is pinning the knight, imagine that's gonna be the same feeling for your opponents, because your bishop is already there.
Yeah.
So that's why it could be a trickier move order if you move the bishop first, and you also prevented them from doing the same to you. So they cannot pin you with bishop g4, and you are already pinning them. And the reason why it's sometimes good to postpone pushing the pawn to c3, so c3 to then go for d4 and gain more space and control of the center, is a really good idea. That's one of the main plans. But if you change the move order and you wait with that move, you can also decide to place the knight on c3. So for instance, after h3, I'm just gonna play a random move for black.
Okay.
Now you can decide between the pawn push that you wanted, or if you already have this pin, I would suggest that you consider using the square for your knight.
Wait. But
so if you place the knight on c3, can you spot what would be a really strong move for you? I'm just gonna make a very awkward and not good move for black, so just ignoring completely what white is doing.
I guess
in this position, can you think of a move for... Very good.
Just attacking the pin piece.
Why is that a strong move for white?
We're attacking the pin piece.
Exactly. Black cannot take your knight because the queen is going to be lost, and if they cannot take it, they are pretty much already in trouble. It's a structural weakness that you are about to provoke, because I think you have already seen in games that the pawns in front of the castle are very important, that they stay intact. They protect your king. They are your bodyguards. So you're about to damage that defense in front of the black king.
That makes sense.
And in this position, we only have made 9 moves, but black doesn't have a way to prevent the capture on f6. If you look at the other pieces, the knight from c6 cannot go and defend the f6 knight. This bishop on c5 cannot go back to e7. The pawn on d6 is blocking its way. So there is no move with which black can prevent you from damaging the pawn structure in front of the king. That's why this plan with the bishop on g5 and then the knight coming out and jumping to d5 can be very annoying to someone who doesn't know these positions well enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're practically winning here. this on a more experienced level, which you will be by the time the tournament starts, this is basically a winning position for white. Almost winning, in a sense that you will have quite an advantage.
Right.
I'm just going to make a couple of moves and see how you would react. For instance, one of the silly moves black can do is h6 and say, okay, you want to take on f6? I don't mind. I'm going to take your bishop. So they're trying to chase your bishop away.
I think first I should attack the knight because it's check.
Very good. It's check, so I don't have time to take the bishop. Really good thinking. And I'm pretty much forced to use my pawn to take the knight. I'm pretty much forced to capture, and because of that capture,
I can run away.
yes, you can run away, but think for a second there
I'm
if there's
dumb.
anything.
Yeah, I see it now.
You're not dumb. You're not dumb at all. It was just a quick move. It was just a quick move. So you can take the pawn on h6 and you're attacking the rook. I will have to move it if I don't want to lose it. I'll have to move it. And you are already a pawn up, plus you have destroyed most of my defensive front of the king.
Yeah.
It's a really good job. Very good job achieving a position like this in only 11 moves.
How would you continue to attack here? Like from here, I would honestly have trouble coming up with a plan to...
Sure. So let's think of ways in which you can bring your pieces. Think about it for a moment. How would you try to bring more pieces to the attack? So you already have this bishop, and you have the other bishop also well placed and eyeing the f7 pawn right next to the king. So those pieces are already useful for your attack, but we need more pieces.
Yeah. I mean, I'd kind of want to move the knight so that I can get my queen out. But
Very good. Where would you move the knight in that case?
the only place I could play is here, right? Is to h4.
Really good. So if the knight goes to h4, we usually say the knight on the rim is dim, but in this case, it's a useful move because you're going toward the black king, and because of jumping away with the knight, you are opening up the diagonal of your queen as well. So this is a multi-purpose move. Improves your knight and at the same time is ready to launch the queen into the attack. Very well spotted. Very well spotted. I'm gonna try to not get mated, so I'm gonna move the king away and hope for the best.
Well, this is a free piece, but then you get my bishop for free. So I guess I would still just move my queen over. Is that okay?
Very good. So you're protecting your bishop with that queen move, and at the same time, you're bringing the queen into the attack. That's an extremely strong move, and you spotted it so quickly. I thought maybe I can just scare you with my king move and that the bishop is hanging and you will move it back, but no, instead you're just launching an attack and you're threatening with something very dangerous. Can you tell me, if it was white to move again, what could be a strong move or couple of strong moves, if you can spot a few ideas?
Well, this piece is hanging, but then you just take the bishop, although then you're in a really weird spot for your king. Oh, and then I could go here, and is that checkmate? Because of my knight. So I guess here, if you go there, you're dead. I think. Right? Oh, sorry.
Yes, so you're threatening?
Yeah.
You're threatening to take that pawn with a check, and you're thinking that after that check, the bishop will be unprotected. Let's do this as a visualization exercise,
Oh,
all right?
no,
I'm not going to let you move your piece.
I think I see it. I think I see it.
Okay, tell me. Yes?
If I take f7 and you take the bishop, then I go to g6 for checkmate.
Brilliant! Mate in 2. Queen takes f7, king h6, and queen g6 is mate. Really good job. Well done.
It's like this
That
puzzle.
was impressive. That was really impressive. Well done. And even if I make another move, so instead of b6, which is obviously a bad move, let's say I try to protect that pawn at least, for instance, with the queen coming here, so that I don't get mated. How would you continue here?
I think I would attack the queen with my knight. The first...
You can think of like that. So you're saying...
Oh, I guess it's still the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing, but you lose your queen in this way. If I attack your queen, over here. Where does the queen even go?
What do you think would be the right response for black after that knight jump?
The bishop takes.
The bishop takes, yes.
So then I take. But then I take, and then it's check. But then you take my bishop. Okay, so no good.
Yes, yes.
So I guess it would probably still be to take the pawn and make you trade off your queen.
Yes, so if you take with the bishop on f7,
I threaten the rook.
right, that if I were to take on f7, I'm losing my queen, and if I don't take it, as you said, the rook is hanging. So let's say I'm moving the rook out of the way. What would be a good continuation here? And I don't let you move your pieces, but you'll need to tell me blindfold. What do you think would be the strongest continuation here?
Queen to g6.
What's the response there for black? What can they do?
They can only go up, right? They can only go to h8.
Really good.
And then it's checkmate
Can
if
you
I move
see?
up.
Can you see there?
So it's mate in 2.
So queen g6, king h8, and what would be the final move there?
Oh, to g7.
Queen to g7. Really good. Well done. Another mate in 2 that you spotted. Well done. I didn't think it would be this easy for you to spot these attacking ideas. It's impressive because you were saying just yesterday on your stream, I was lurking and I was doing my research on what can we study today, and you said to Hans that you don't know, you're not sure how to attack, but in this game you literally gave checkmate in 15 moves.
Yeah, but I feel like my games don't go like this at all.
Well, but I wasn't helping you. I just asked what would you play. I didn't help you. I didn't give you hints.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I
No,
just
this
worry,
is absolutely impressive.
I worry a little too much about. I don't know. So I went from not attacking ever to trying to attack too much.
I see.
And then
I think
sometimes
we'll
I throw
find the right
my...
balance. But
Yeah.
you're very impressive finding these ideas. Really, you should be very confident about your skills because you're improving with an insane speed. I was gonna ask you, by the way, because I've seen you've been studying now constantly and streaming chess. But did you study chess before, or when did you learn to play chess, and did you ever compete?
Oh no, I guess my sister had a chessboard at home. She was playing a little, but I didn't really play with her. Like, I think at home maybe I played. I didn't play very much because she would just beat me. She's 6 years older, so I would play like a game, get destroyed, and then I just stopped playing her. I think it was like maybe 3. I don't even remember playing against her. I think it happened though, but I know that her and my dad played a lot. And it was around in third grade for recess. There'd be like a lot of board games. There'd be like a chessboard and like other stuff, and that was one of the activities. But I just casually played. That was the last time I remember ever playing chess.
I see.
But I never had lessons.
So you knew
or
how to
study.
piece it with some basic strategies, or
I don't even think I knew any basic strategies. Like everything is new. But yeah.
Then it's extremely impressive that you got to this level in a few days. When did you start now training for the Pogchamps?
Oh, I think it's been like a week at least, maybe even more now. It was shoot, I have no idea. I want to say like 7-8 days now. I've been playing nonstop.
Well, then it's crazy how you got to this level in about a week from just knowing how the pieces move, basically.
Oh, thank you.
I'm genuinely impressed. I'm not telling you to be nice. I'm just shocked. Like it really is insane. Do you think that the Hearthstone helps, or is there anything that you find similar in the strategies? Do you think that this speed with which you are learning has anything to do with Hearthstone or any other games that you play?
Well, I've played a lot of different games at pretty high levels, and generally I find that just finding where you have to improve on is just the first step. So at first, the way I usually get better is to like play the game a lot, so it becomes more familiar. But in chess, I actually maybe kind of regret doing that, because even though I got a lot of games in, I wasn't really learning, because there's too much in chess. There's honestly too much in chess where it feels like jamming games isn't that helpful. So yesterday I changed my approach to like trying to practice drills, because I honestly think drills are something that I can learn slowly by myself, maybe with a little bit of help from chat. But like analyzing my own games, I don't feel is that useful, because even though the computer tells me the right moves, it doesn't mean anything to me. You know, like I don't know. I feel like it doesn't help me that much by self-analyzing, because I'm just too dumb, like too new, too noob at chess. So I'm trying to work on fundamentals.
I think you came to the right conclusion. It's very difficult to learn at the beginning only from your games, and a lot of people just only play and then check with the computer what were the mistakes. But I do think the same as you, that at the very beginning, it's not easy to even understand when the computer tells you the right move, that you should have played this or that, and you will not understand exactly why.
Yeah, so I'm dumbing it down now. I'm trying to just work on drills and puzzles, and then like play a few games to see if I can apply any of the concepts. But it's kind of weird.
I'm sure you will.
I just learned 2 new openers, so even though I feel like I got a lot better, I don't really know how to play the openers that well. So I swapped from the London to the... Oh yeah, this was the Italian, you said? Right?
Yes, the Italian.
Yeah, so I swapped from the London to the Italian. I guess she taught me 2 days ago, but I didn't really get a game in. So yesterday was the first time I tried it. And then for black, Hans taught me the French, which I think, I hope I remember it still. But yesterday was the first time I was introduced to it. And so it's kind of tougher, because when they do different moves, I'm pretty thrown off. And I have to think about all the different lines, and I mess up. So... Yeah.
We can go through all that. We can go through the openings that you have learned and just see move by move why you make those moves. And I also thought that we could look at some of the drills you did, not for the exact same positions, but the techniques that you learned from those positions. If you think that's a good way of moving forward, because as I said to you, I do think that because you have so much input, so much practice from the drills, the coaching sessions, and it can be a lot of information at once. I'm going to try to help you understand everything, why you are doing what. So we're going to look at things that you have practiced already, but it may not be just 100% clear why is this or that move happening.
Sounds good.
Let me... I'm going to get rid of the pieces. If we start with some of the endgames that you looked at, I think you practiced king and pawn endgames quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna test your knowledge a little bit.
Okay.
There.
I feel pretty good on it, but then again, I don't know. That was yesterday.
Let me just... wait a second. I'm trying to... I think maybe I should just start a new analysis board.
Sure.
One moment. I'm gonna open a new one.
Okay.
I'm so bad at everything that involves IT skills. Like if it was a physical chessboard, I would already have the position, but because I need to set it up on the computer, I'm like, where do I click? But maybe, well, no, this is once again the same. I'm gonna invite you to this one, even though it went back to the starting position, so I need to find a way to set up the board. Yeah, that boomer count is gonna be increasing a lot today as well.
Also, chess
I
is...
heard, by the way, that you're... Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What was it?
Oh, I was just recalling that I heard that your fiancé is also in the tournament in Pogchamps.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna put much time into it, but he keeps saying he's not gonna put time into it, but every time I walk by, he's playing chess. If he's not streaming, he
Really?
hasn't streamed it, but he doesn't stream that much. He's streaming like 5 to 6 hours a day, and when he's not streaming, he's playing chess. Every time I walk by, he's playing chess.
I see.
Literally every time. So,
Okay, so
I'm scared.
he is trying to learn just as much as you, but that's gonna be difficult. That's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, he's really smart. I mean, Wait, why do I have a black pawn? Oh, because you're clearing them.
I'm trying to. I'm sure there's a better
What
way.
is that pawn?
Like, I know there's a button for removing the pieces from the board, but I found it. I found it. See, this is my IT skills. That definitely don't learn from me how to set up the board because I'm just bad at computers in general.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, that's interesting that even though he doesn't stream chess, but he does learn and study a lot in his spare time. So is there a bit of a competition between you and him? Who's gonna do better in the tournament?
Definitely, he's very sweet in the sense that he always takes an interest in whatever I'm doing. So, especially because I'm putting all my time and effort into it, he feels he has to keep up. But yeah, I intend on beating him. That's
gonna be interesting.
I fully intend on destroying him. I hope I do. Otherwise, I'll be so sad because I've put so much time and effort into it.
I fully agree. This much effort and dedication deserves a reward. Also, when it comes to a match between you and David. So, David, his name is, right?
Yep.
The dog?
Yes. So, first...
I tell you, I was lurking a lot, and you were mentioning that to your chat yesterday. So I was like, oh, it's cool that they are both in the tournament, and I'm definitely rooting for Hafu. Of course I am.
Thank you. So for
Do you see the position?
Yeah. Oh, I already moved.
Game?
I already moved because I want my king to be in front of the pawn.
I'm gonna answer too. Very good. Very good. I'm gonna move as well.
I messed up, huh? Is it doomed now? I think I messed up. I think I had to go. Oops. Can we go back a move?
Of course, yes.
I think
shoot. I forgot. Yeah, wait a second. I'm gonna put these back because I need to lock. See, that's why no one should learn from me IT skills. I need to lock the position so that we can move. This one. Okay.
I think I have to make sure you don't get into opposition with me. I think I have to go into opposition with you, right? And then you have to move. This way I can keep pushing. I think that's the concept.
So if I copy you and I try to take the opposition.
So if I go here, you'll go here. And then I'm screwed. So then if I go here, you go here, and I go here, you go there. Huh. Why is this different? Let me think. If I go here, you go here. That doesn't work either. If I go back, you go forward. If I go up, you go up. That doesn't work either. What? Did I mess up already?
It's either that you messed up or I am trying to trick you.
Okay, let me think.
One or the other.
If I go here, you go here. I go here, you go there. I go here, no. Okay. If I go up, you go up. I go here, you go there. I go here, you go there. That doesn't work either. Oh no! Okay. I go up. I'm just gonna make a move. I have to see this.
Sure.
And then you go into the opposition. And then...
I'm gonna play that. Thank you for the help.
And then I go up.
Okay. I'm gonna go here.
What if I go up again? And then I go up. If I go here, you just go in front. And then I have to go back, and then
Yes,
you go
true.
back. So then there's no point.
Okay. What do you think is the best move here for black?
To match me, to go to d6.
Yes. Very good. Really important.
But then I just go up. Oh. But then I go here. And then I go... It doesn't matter which side my king is on. If I go this way, you just follow. I'm not sure it matters. I'm going this way. I think I did it, right? And then you have to go... Oh, no! It's stalemate.
It is.
Oh, no!
It is.
So then I messed up from the start?
Yes. But I must tell you something. I slightly changed the position that you learned. And that slight difference can make a whole lot of difference in the result. So the position that you had in the drill, I think, is this one. I didn't only change the file, but I also moved, if you look at where the kings
Yeah,
are.
we're on opposite colors. Light and dark.
Yes, and the one I gave you as an exercise now, I sneakily moved the king here instead of here. And that one square difference is actually a big difference when it comes to the result of this endgame. There is no way of winning this if the opponent plays well. Okay. Now, the importance of this is, of course, knowing why. Why is this a draw and why this is lost? So there's a big difference when it comes to opposition, and you learned that, I think, from a video you looked up on YouTube by the St. Louis Chess Club, I think. That was a king and pawn endgame, and in that video they were teaching you how the king should go ahead, and you did that very well. So let's compare this. We did this position with the king on c7. Let's compare it to the king being on c8. If you want to play again with the white pieces, and I'm going to respond, and we'll see what's the difference.
I think I can visualize the difference. It's just that you can get to the opposition. Wait, I don't know why it is though. But I mean the concept must be that you can get into opposition and make it be on my turn. Whereas I want to get into opposition with you so that it's your turn to move.
Exactly. That's extremely smart what you said, because even in a position like this, depending on whose move it is,
Yeah.
It's either gonna be a win for white or it's a draw.
Yeah.
And it only depends on whose move it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what you said. So you want the opposition, but you also want it to be the opponent's turn. So we call it to win the opposition. Means that the opponent has to step out of it, since there's no pass. You cannot say I don't want to move. Black has to move the king away, and it will be either to the left or to the right, but you need to choose a direction, and that will give a path forward to the white king. Very good. Very good. And if I were to move here,
then I would go back into opposition with you.
Really good. And you're doing the same thing, basically. You are paving the way of the pass pawn by sending the king forward. And if I try to go and catch the pawn, I'm gonna try to go and capture it. How would you react to that attempt?
If I move forward, I would just move forward. I think.
You can move forward, very good, because now that pawn is controlling the b4 square and your king is controlling c4, so I cannot get closer. Very good. All those squares are taken away from my king. And if I were to go back to b6,
then I would still move forward. Wait, let me think. Let me think. If I move forward, you move there, and that's not good. Oh, it is good. Because then I just go back into opposition with you.
Really good. So you are winning the opposition again. After this move, extremely important that the king takes the opposition and I have to step away again. I have to step outside of your way. Well done. I'm gonna go here.
And then...
Mm-hmm. Really good job, and I cannot block the pawn anymore. I cannot go under the pass pawn, so I'm just gonna be moving around, but I cannot stop you from promoting the pawn because your king is already guarding all those squares.
Mm-hmm.
Then the only important thing will be not to give stalemate, so I'm gonna play out those moves still.
If I do this, it's not stalemate, right? You can.
It's not.
Yeah, you
but
can
good
still
that you're
move
checking
there.
it, because that's my only chance. My only chance is if I achieve a stalemate position.
Wait, what happened to my
Yeah, because
pawn?
we are in the setup. Yeah, sorry. I don't know how I'm supposed to lock the position, so it's still in the setup mode. I need to replace the pawn. Oh shoot! Now I wanted to move this. I am a boomer.
Okay, so generally I try to herd you into the corner.
Mm-hmm.
If I move here, you can't. No. If I move here, no. This is locked, so I need to give you this square.
Really good. So I only have one square.
And then I can do a non-move. Oh, actually, I can do this, and you have to go here.
Mm-hmm. I can go there, or I can come here. I'm gonna try this in case I can confuse you.
Okay, so then this is blocked. I need to give you this square. So it's best to do this, because then I just need to get my king
really good.
opposite from you and then to sit on the checkmate.
Very good job. That was my trick to try to.
I've done
lure
this a
you
million
into
times
stalemate.
and I still mess it up, but I think I always have to triple check if you have a move. It's just in time situations it's scary, but I shouldn't be. Especially in Pogchamps, it's you get 5 seconds to move, so I should be fine.
Yes, but I think you do it very well. And one thing that if you want to for those time trouble situations when you don't have the time to look at all the squares where I can move, whether it will be stalemate or not. One thing that you can do in positions like this, there's a risk of stalemate when my queen is a knight move away from your king. So if you see that my queen, well, in this case, your queen, but the white queen is a knight jump away from the black king, that means you're not giving check, but you're taking away a hell of a lot of squares from my king.
That's fair. Also, I should have
So-
just moved here for. Oops, sorry. I should just move here first. I think.
Yes, yeah, I was gonna suggest that, because even though this is also a knight jump, it's not the same knight jump, because
Yeah.
you are giving me squares on the one file I can move. So I can be moving on the A file, and then you don't need to follow me with the queen. So it would be stalemate only if my king is in the corner and then you come this close with
Yeah.
the queen. But it's a good idea, what you said, really, really well spotted, that you just gonna use the queen. So from this position here, this is extremely dangerous, as I only have one square, and you need to bring the king closer. So you cannot make the best move here, because the best move would be to bring the king and then give checkmate, but that's stalemate.
Yeah.
That's why your move is the best move. Placing the queen here, so you are cutting the king on the B file, and then you can bring the king, and I cannot escape.
Yes.
There's nowhere to go. It's gonna be mate in a few moves, because I cannot hide, and there's no stalemate anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Very good job. Well done. But now, in terms of the pawn endgame, what was then the difference? What? Oh shoot! Where's my pawn? This one. I'm gonna get rid of the queen. And the first one I gave you was this. Remember?
Well, my pawn is behind my queen, and we're on the same.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the same color square. So
Yes,
you'll always
that's a
be
good
able
observation.
to. Like, I can't get ahead, and I can't waste a move. What is it called? Zug,
Yeah,
zug,
really
zug,
good.
swing, zug. I don't remember. But the wasting a move concept.
Zugzwang.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I don't have a way to do that with my
Yeah,
pawn
Zugzwang is
because it's
very
behind,
good, very good.
It's my king is behind the pawn.
true. Now, if you're thinking of, we are comparing this position to that one. So in this position, the kings are on different color. In this one, they were standing on the same color
Mhm.
of squares. But what would be the case if the king is here?
Is
What
it-
do you think this position would be like? Can you win this as white?
Oh, I guess still no. Well,
Why do you think no?
Because you can always catch up to my king before I can get in front of my pawn. Is that why?
Let's try. I'm gonna now ask you to defend with the black pieces. All right?
Okay.
Have to play with the black pieces this time.
So if I go here, okay. No, I just mirror what you do. Wait. Yes, I just mirror what you do.
Very good. Well done. I was hoping I can trick you, because the most natural thing would be to run
To do
toward
this.
the king to try
Yeah.
to get closer. Yes. Either here to c5 or to move it to d5, and both of those moves are bad. How did you just realize
I
so
think
quickly
Hess.
that-
I remember Hess saying that, but I don't think it sunk in when he said it, because he was saying a lot of things. He's taught me a lot of things, but like I said, it's been a lot. But yeah, I think. I mean, also I can visualize it, because if I do go here, then you just go here and I lose. So it's a little bit of both.
Yes. So in that case, black has to move out of the opposition. Very good. And just by placing the king here, this is also an opposition. They call it the distant opposition. So it's an opposition from the distance, basically. Distant opposition, and this would be the traditional opposition is this one, when the kings are just one square. There's only one square in between. But if you look at this position, it's also a kind of opposition, but
Yeah.
from a bigger distance.
Yes, as long as I can. Yeah, as long as you can't waste a move.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I don't know if Robert told you about key squares in pawn endgames. Does that ring a bell?
No, I don't think I looked at. I was looking at checkmates in that because he was showing me the queen checkmate, the queen king
Sure.
checkmate. So we didn't look at pawns. I think. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Then let me show you one trick I learned as a kid. I'm gonna color these squares, and these ones, and draw a letter T. So
Okay.
this is a T. The idea behind drawing this to use this visual tool is that if you have a passed pawn on C2, your king has to be in one of these 3 squares in order to be able to promote it. So your goal when we are starting here are, let's put the king now there. You want the white king to be in one of these squares, and if you get there, you win. You manage to promote the pawn. But only in positions like this, of course. If there were more pieces on the board, it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
But if it's only one pawn versus a bare king, if you get your king to one of those 3 squares, you can promote the pawn. Doesn't matter whose turn it is.
Yeah.
Now let's test that, because we know positions where I'm just gonna set it up in a way that it's white to move. So let's say black has just played this move to take the opposition, and black wants you to move the king away. But your king is in one of those squares that is supposed to be the winning square.
I mean,
so why
I
is
can
this
just,
winning for white?
I can just move my pawn.
Really good. Well done. And that means that now I have to step out of the opposition. One thing that happens with that letter T is that every time you move the pawn, the T is also
Yeah,
moving.
I
So it's
see.
moving upwards.
That's cute.
Very good. So next step, you need your king in one of those 3 squares. And you just always need to make sure you will get your king there before you move the pawn, because the further you move the pawn, the further those pawns are, the squares, the T squares are
Yeah.
from your king oftentimes. So that's why it's quite useful. I learned this as a kid like this, that oh, that's the T. I need to get into the T. So I need my king there, and
That's
then I
cute.
can promote the king.
That makes
Promote the
sense.
pawn with the king. Yeah. So this is a visual tool you can use, and another important detail about this T, they are called key squares or critical squares in adult language, but I still refer to them as the T. But when you cross the halfway of the board, so let's say we have this position. So this pawn, where are those key squares, the 3 important squares
This?
where your king has to be? Awesome. Yeah. So I drew the entire one just to show that
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a T,
yeah,
but
but it's just
we
these
only
3.
care about the top.
Okay.
Yeah. So the top of the T is what the key squares are. But if your passed pawn crosses the halfway of the board, then the number of key squares doubles. So we're gonna have the ones you already know, the top of the T, and because the passed pawn is already so advanced, it has 3 other key squares. So in total, you have 6 squares.
Okay.
And whether your king is on d6, b7, c6, wherever in those 6 squares, you're promoting the pawn.
Okay.
Why do you think it is like this, that now suddenly there are 6 winning squares?
Is it because the pawn takes away 2 squares by itself?
So let me give you as an example. If it is black to move here, I would try to stay in front of the pawn. What would you play here?
I would move my king forward. My pawn forward, sorry.
King forward or
my
pawn forward?
I already moved it. the pawn forward.
Sure. So if you move the pawn, where are the key squares?
So my
where's the
king's
T
not in
and the
there.
extra T? Yes, and
Oh.
it's okay if your king is not there right now, but will you be able to get your king there? That's the real question. So imagine in this position, before you make that move, imagine you're thinking of playing this pawn push. And you know that then your king will have to be in one of those 6
I
squares.
see.
Will you get there?
Yes, all I have to do is go back into the opposition, make you choose a side, and then step into whichever one you don't step into.
Really good. Can you explain how you came to that conclusion? Why c6 is bad? What can black do here?
He can take the opposition. Does that matter?
He can take the opposition. Yes.
Yes, it
very
matters.
good, because you're aiming to get your king into one of those 6 squares, and he's preventing it. He's stepping in front of you. He doesn't let you come closer. And the more you push the pawn, the further away those squares are. Now they are like out of the board.
Yeah.
The other 3 squares are they don't exist anymore. They are out. So I would come here after the check,
and
now there's
doomed.
only one move that keeps the pawn.
Yeah, and it's stalemate.
Yes.
Okay.
It is. For the very end, there's another tool you can use here. But here you realize that the strongest move is to take the opposition again, and that pushes the black king away. Whether it goes to the b or d file, you will choose the other one. So you will step.
Yeah.
If it's king to d8, you will choose the other direction,
B7.
and you are in one of those squares that you needed. Well, the king was already there on c6, but now you're paving the way all the way to c8. All the squares are guarded by the white king.
Yes.
So this is already simple to see that it's winning. Another trick that you can use here at the very end, because it's where you can still mess up. If the position is like this.
Yeah.
So I asked you earlier, what if it was black to move and you had to find the move here? Remember? This is the previous one.
Yes.
From this position, I made a move for black. But because of this visual tool that we learned, the T, and the extra 3 squares, since the pawn has crossed the halfway mark of the board, this position is supposed to be winning also if it is white to move, right? Because your
Yes.
king is in one of those squares already. So what do you think is the right move here if it's white's turn?
To go left.
Okay, I'm gonna follow you.
Oh, well then... No, I have to stay in one of these squares. If I go here, you go here. What? Okay, if I go here... If I go here, you go here, I lose. Well, okay, I have to go back. And then you have to follow me.
Yes, I will follow you.
If I go forward, you will step in front and I'm doomed. Wait, if I go forward, you go to the
Yes.
left.
Really good. That's my only chance. I need to try to block the pawn.
Oh, but then I move forward again and then you can go there. Because you have to make a move. So
I
I just,
have to make a move.
so I just go forward.
Very good job. So the difference is that here, when you push the pawn to the penultimate rank,
Yeah, you can still go to B7.
I still have a move. Very good. I have to get it. I
And then-
have to move out of the way.
And then I just move up.
And then... Very good job. Amazing. Really good. That can be very confusing at the beginning, why sometimes this is winning and sometimes this is a draw. So if the king was here and here you push, is this winning or it's a draw?
If it's my move? If it's my move, I'm winning.
Yes, if it's white to move, you are winning, and if it's black to move,
I lose. I think.
Who is losing if it's black to
Oh,
move?
sorry. We draw.
Yeah, we lose a half a point that we would not want to lose. You're right. Yes, it's a draw because now this pawn push is not the same.
Because you can
Black
stay
goes
there.
under the pawn.
And then I don't give you a move. I either give up my pawn or I take your square.
Yes. So you want to achieve this position when it's black to move in this position. If it's white to move here, it's a draw. If it's black to move here, then black is losing because of what you showed. One way in which you can remember this easier is that you want to push the pawn to the 7th rank, so to the penultimate rank, without a check. So if it's a check, then the position will be like this. If you can push, let's say we have this position like this. Oops, shoot. I'm booming on the board again. Oh no, it's like as if my mouse was glued onto the piece I wanted to touch the king. So you want to avoid that the pawn is being pushed with check.
Okay.
Because that leads to this position, that leads to draw. Shoot. Sorry, I'm just gonna be like clicking all the wrong squares.
Yeah, so in this spot...
But what I wanted to show you is that, so in a position like this, remember what's the right way to do it for white. If it is white to move, what's the right move here?
Moving my pawn up.
So if you move your pawn up, what will black do?
You just go to the right and then... No. So the right move is to go here. Wait, but isn't it the same thing?
Yes.
No, it's not the same thing.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Why is it not the same? I think you already figured it out on your own.
Oh, because I pushed you into the... I'm stepping into opposition again, and then I can move forward.
Yes. Yeah, very good. So in this position, this move again would have been a draw because you push the pawn with check, which means that in this position it's white to move and this is stalemate, or you have to give up the pawn. And if in this position, let's say this is the starting position, it's black to move, so black goes here.
Then I can move up, and then you go here and I win.
So it's important that you push the pawn to the penultimate rank without
check. Yeah.
Yes. It's a check. Black will always be able to step in front of the pawn. If it's without check, you're forcing the king out of the blockading square.
Yes.
So always without check. And this can actually be applied for earlier stages as well, but in positions like this, let's say we are in this position. So if it's white to move here, what do you think this position is?
If it's white to move,
you win this.
I win this? Okay.
I'm asking, do you think? Where are the T squares? The T squares?
I can't get into a key square, so I lose this. Or it's a tie. Oh, thank you, David, for the raid.
Yes, it's a draw. So even though we have 6 key squares here, because the pawn has already crossed the halfway mark, you cannot get into any of them.
Yes.
You can try, and that's the good thing about chess, that even if this is a theoretical draw, in a practical game, you can still try and the opponent can still make a mistake. So you should, of course, play at those moves, whether you're playing it as the attacker or as the defender.
Yeah, you should just play it out.
You should play it out, because people make mistakes. But it's good that you know the right method, the right technique.
That's true.
This is a draw. Very good job. Now I will ask you how to actually defend it with black. So what would be the right move here?
As white?
Yeah, if you were to play this as black and it's black to move now, then what would you play here?
I would take the opposition.
Very good. Cannot come closer, unfortunately. I would like to get to those key squares, but I can't. And Instead, I'll try to push the pawn and see if you make a mistake.
So now the key squares are here.
Very good.
So I just move in front of it.
Very good. Very good job. And now hold on to my pawn and hope for the best. Hope that you make a mistake, maybe. So I'm gonna move here.
So now the key squares are here. So as long as you don't get in. But if I move here, well, I can't move there. So if I move here, then you'll just move here. If I move here, you'll move there. And then I'll move there and then you'll get in. So I have to move to a side. I think I moved to a side. Wait. If I move here, you move here. Then I move in front. No, that's not good for me. So I have to move directly back. If I move directly back, you move forward. I move to the side. Yeah. So I move directly back and then I just follow your king. I think.
Wow. How did you come to that conclusion that that's the right move? I'm gonna play this and see if you defended well.
I mean, I just follow your king. Because then you can't come in.
So you take the opposition. I cannot come in. Very good. I'll have to push the pawn with check, and that's what I did not want to do. Good job. Because now it is my turn. I would like you to have to make a move here, but it's white to move, so I need to play this move if I want to hold on to the pawn, and it's stalemate. Really good job, because in that position here, when you were thinking where to place the king, this is so easy. At a beginner level, most games actually would end up being a mistake here, because it's so easy to say, well, you have 3 options. Only one of them is good. So it's statistically, it's a 33.33% that you will get it. And also, I think just by intuition, it feels like going sideways is somehow better.
Yeah,
I don't feel that way. It looks better. So why did you realize? How did you think of this being the wrong move, even though this looks like the natural way of playing, the natural response?
Oh, I mean, I just walked through the turn. I tried that one first and it didn't work. Because then you walk here.
Yes.
And then I have
to go here. Can you tell us your thought process so that the viewers can learn from it? Because it actually is very instructive how you managed to figure out that this is the wrong one.
Oh, I mean, I chose the wrong move first, but then if I'm white, then I would go to, like, if we go to where I am right now, B8, and you move your king to C6, then you check me.
Yeah, the king to B6, and it's black to move, so black has to move the king
in front, and then you can just move your king. Wait, wait.
Yes, you can push the pawn without check. Important that we are pushing the pawn without check, so the king has to step out.
Yeah, but then you can't. Wait, no, now I'm confused.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh. Let's take a look at it again. So, tell me which part is confusing.
Hold on. I have to look one more time.
Sure. Take your time.
So if black wants to go here and then you go here, you move there.
Yes.
Oh yeah. This is fine. Okay. Yeah. So if black goes to a side, then the opposite has to follow. And then the only thing that white can really do to break the pattern of going back and forth is to push the pawn, which is a check, and then you can move in front. And then the king can either step in, which takes away your escape, or step away from the pawn, which kills the king, or which lets the king kill the pawn.
Yes. Would you like to show those moves that you were explaining?
Sure. So
the
wrong move is to go there. This is wrong.
Yes.
Because now. Wait, is this wrong? Yes, it is.
Now white can play. Yes, and black has to go...
Black has to go here. And then I do this.
And white will play...
Well, they more or less have to do this. And then...
Really good, and that's without a check, so it is black who has to step out of the blocking square.
Yeah, so
and
it's
white
wrong.
Will go...
Oh, no, sorry. Then it's king up, and then this is doomed.
Yeah, king up, and then...
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm confused, because I'm like, wait, but then black loses, but that's exactly why it's wrong, because we were playing white before. That's what confused me. Oh my gosh, my head.
Yeah, so in this position, you were confused also because I told you to think of black's move and what's the right defense for black.
Yeah, so the right defense is to go directly back, because then...
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's probably the least natural move to play, so very good that you spotted it. And the reason is that when...
Chess hits my brain. Yeah, so that now the only thing that I can do is follow the king, and then he has to either give up the pawn or check me. And if he checks me, then I walk in front, and then
Yes.
And then I either get the pawn or it's stalemate.
Yes. Really good job. I'm impressed. Let's see this position for one more time. This, for instance, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna ask you to defend as black.
Okay.
I've just played this move.
Oh, okay. So then you were here to here. Wait, is it possible you started me on a white square?
I'm trying to trick you.
It's not possible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's impossible for me to stop you from winning.
I don't know. Try. Imagine you're playing this game with the black pieces, and you need to try your best to save that half point.
Oh wait, I can just move here.
You're taking the distant opposition. Very good. So I'm gonna try to get closer.
And then I take the opposition.
Well done. I'm gonna try my best to win the opposition somehow, but you're taking it again. That's really annoying. I'm trying my best. I'm gonna try again. Oh, see, Hafu is defending too well. She's not letting me cross. You're just constantly taking the opposition. I'm trying to cross, but you don't let me. See, this is the moment when I would be like, okay, I'm gonna try pushing the pawn in case I can confuse her. But by pushing the pawn, now my key squares are further away, so it's even less likely that I'm gonna win this.
So I just move in front.
Very good. Very good job. Now, once again, I cannot come closer, so I'm gonna push again.
So now... I just take one step back, I think. Let me think. If I take one step back, you move here, and then I move into the opposition again. If I go here, you just take
Really
the
good.
opposition, so I have to move one square back.
Well done. Well done. And you are waiting for me to place the king here, and
So
that's when... Really good. Once again, you are not letting me get closer. You're very annoying, taking the opposition constantly. I have to push.
Okay, so then... Once again... Once again, I have to go here.
Yes, so you're letting me come here. And I take the opposition. Okay, I'm gonna give a check since I cannot come closer with the king. Well done. I was hoping you would make a mistake here, but you aren't. You aren't making one at all.
Then I
Well
take the
done.
opposition.
And I have to push with a check, which is bad. If I want to win, that's not the way. And this is stalemate again. Really good job. Well done.
I think I just have to remember that I want to take the opposition. I want to take the opposition. You never want the other king to take it. Because then...
Exactly. Well done. Whether you're attacking or defending, you always want to take the opposition. So opposition is really important both for the attacker and the defender. A couple of the viewers were wondering about what is it with the oppositioning. If it's, is this an opposition? Is this an opposition? For instance, this position. Do you think this is an opposition?
For whose turn? No, it's not. It's not. But whoever gets to move...
Why is it not?
Wins. Because
the opposition.
It's just one away. It has to be one away or an odd number of squares away.
So the kings are always on the same color of square. That would be the traditional opposition, that there's only one square in between. And if it's distant opposition, then it is still an odd number of squares in between the kings. So instead of 1, now there would be 3 squares in between them. Or we can have an even more of a distance if the kings are... Oh, shoot, not that king. Imagine the white king is on d1. And yeah, very good. The black king would need to be on d7. This is opposition too. A very distant one, but it's still an opposition. So this is opposition. There's... the kings are on the same file, and there's an odd number of squares in between them. If the number of squares are even, that is, the kings are not on the same color, then in this moment, it's not an opposition, but you can win the opposition from here. With the move, if it's black to move, if it's white to move, you would play... What's the best move here? If it's
just to move up.
Yes. So I'm gonna... try to confuse you a little, but I'm a little worried that it may not be easy to confuse you after so many drills. Well done. And now I have to step out of the opposition.
And then I can just shove you forward.
Very good. Really good job. Really good job there. I'm gonna show you one more position and then we can move on to a different type of position. Let me set up another one. I'm just curious. Just a moment. I'll need to set it up in a way that it works.
When did you start playing chess?
I learned to play chess when I was about 4 years old, I think. But I didn't start competing until I was in primary school. It was a very old computer game called Battle Chess that my father used to play, and my sister and I were just watching him play this MS-DOS game. It was a really old game, but it kind of works like the Harry Potter chess, that the pieces become real and they fight and kill each other when you trade pieces.
I think I watched.
Have you seen?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? I learned chess because of that game, because my sister and I really liked watching it, but we also, of course, wanted to play it, but the computer doesn't let you make illegal moves, so we had to learn how the pieces move in order to play that game.
Oh, that's so cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah,
I really enjoyed that game back then.
But
it's so funny because a few months ago I played it again. I made a YouTube video about playing that game again, so I downloaded that very old version, and it's just like looking back at a childhood, at something that in my childhood was just such a sweet and lovely memory, and now I'm looking at it as a grown-up and like, geez, this is violent. And I was 4 years old, and the pieces just kill each other. The bishop would pull out a sword and just it's like an actual fight and the war zone, but somehow it's still in a more cartoony and not too brutal way. But yeah, I was like, oh my, this is what I liked about chess at the beginning.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool that it was because you wanted to be able to play battle chess.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it back then. I'm gonna try to set up a position where I can trick you. So I'm just thinking. One moment. Mhm.
I didn't want to play that game because anytime you could die in a game, it scared me. Because I watched my sister play this like really old game. I don't know if anybody remembers Chip's Challenge. Does anyone know what Chip's Challenge is? It's a really
What's that game like?
It's a really small puzzle game, but there's also monsters that chase you and they like continuously try to get to you. And I would play,
Oh.
but as soon as there'd be a monster, I would quit because I didn't want the chance for a monster to be able to eat me. That was like terrifying for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so I didn't actually play. I just would watch, and then if there was a monster, I would run away in real life. Like if I was watching my sister play and there'd be a monster that looked like it was gonna get her, I would just run.
Oh. And now I need to look up how that game is. It makes me curious about the design. But yeah, I think for a child, a lot of things can be really scary. Or the other way around, because now I'm looking at battle chess and I find it more aggressive than what I used to think about it.
Yeah.
I have this position for you because I want to trick you. So you are playing this with the white pieces. You're playing as white.
Okay.
And the question is, what would you play here? Maybe I shouldn't have said I'm trying to trying to trick you. So let's just see what would be the normal way to try to win this first.
So we are technically in opposition, kind of, because you can just take it.
Is it an opposition now?
Kind of. Well, if I move to the right, I'm doomed. So I have to move to the left. Left. If I move here, you move here.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I move here, and then it's doomed. Is it doomed? Let me see. Position, no?
You haven't seen this position. I'm just trying to see if you can take the right conclusions from drills that you do know.
You go here. No, if I go here, you go here. If I go here. Oh, that works. I think.
So you're playing king to c2. I'm gonna try to get closer.
Here I lose, but if I go here...
Well done. So now I step here.
Step in front.
Good job. And now you're threatening to step onto this square. Do you remember where the T squares are for your pass pawn?
Right there.
Exactly. So you're threatening to take one of the key squares. I don't want to let you do that. I'm gonna step here and say I'm not allowing it.
Yeah. So then I take the opposition.
Very good. And now this is the moment when I cannot stay still and prevent you from getting to one of the T squares or key squares. I have to choose one side or the other. And then, well done, you are on one of the key squares. How did you figure out that you had to go toward the left and not just walk straight up?
If I walk straight up, you can just kind of mirror me, right? You can get there.
So if you step
To the
here,
right, it's completely doomed. Yeah, if
Yeah.
I walk there,
if you walk straight up,
then you can just walk straight up, I think.
let's turn the tables and you need to
And
defend
then-
this as black. Where would you go?
Not just be there. There. Oh, I guess that's not good. There. Go here, go here. Go there. Oh. But if I I move to the left, it also doesn't work. Because then you walk in. Did you start from? You started from D1?
Yes, yes. So the starting position was this. And I'm just asking, how did you figure out that you had to go toward the left? Because that's the solution. You played the right move. That's the way to win it. So now I'm curious if you could defend this as black after white playing the wrong move, which is king to d2.
I mean, I want to stay on the same color square as you, but I also want to get closer. Walk to the left then? No, that doesn't really work, because then you take the opposition. Here? Oh, that kind of works. Because no matter where you go, I'll be able to take the opposition.
Really good job. So your idea is that once I move up...
Yeah.
Well done. You've taken the opposition and you prevent me from making more progress with my king. I cannot step closer. Well done. That's really important. First you were thinking to keep the king on the F file. So the opposition would be when the kings are on the same file or rank. So they either need to be on the same file or they should be on the same rank.
Rank, yeah.
If it's not the same file or rank, all you need to worry about is what happens when they come close. So they will start approaching each other, and who will win the opposition. That's what matters. If they are this far, this is not an opposition, but it's good that you started thinking how to win it. And that's why king d2 is a bad move, because of the king e6. Now it doesn't matter where I go with the king. As you said, if I played this move, you will place your king where again? We will show it again. There. And if in this previous position I were to move my king here, then the right move is... Well done. Really good job. So now you're just gonna keep taking the opposition. You don't let me make progress. And eventually I will have to push my pawn, which makes the T or key squares step even further away from me. And therefore it's gonna be even more difficult to win this. I mean, obviously, theoretically I can't win it, but I could still try to trick you. So there's always a practical chance, but as long as you defend this well, you're gonna be able to save half a point in these endgames. And with the white, if you're playing as white, you're gonna be able to win them. Good. So when I step here, and I have to advance with check, which is exactly what I don't want to be doing. And once again it's check, and this is not the way for me to try to promote the pawn. You're defending extremely well. Again it's a check, and that's bad. Well done. Really good job. You did it. You did it. And also the starting position. This starting position that you haven't seen before, you figured out you need to go. So for this passed pawn, the key squares are here, the T. And it takes the same amount of moves to try to go up in a straight line. And it's also the same amount of moves to go diagonally and then straight. It's interesting because if it was, well, let's say in real life, the way we walk, everything from going from A to B.
From D to,
exactly.
Straight line.
So on the chessboard, there's no such thing as the straight line is the fastest. If you go diagonally and then straight, it will take you the same amount of moves. But if you go to the left, then that's further away from the black king. So it takes more time for the black king to take the opposition. That's why going to the left is the solution. Well done. Really good job. I'm impressed, and my viewers are impressed. We are having polls about how you will do in the Pogchamps, and everyone is saying you're gonna win it, and you are nailing the lesson. So I'm really impressed, just as much as my audience.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna show you another king and pawn position, and then we can go back to the openings if you would like to.
Okay.
I'm just gonna try to test you in a position like this. Let's put this further away. Alright, let's say you're playing this as white. And of course, you want to win because you have an extra pawn. How would you try to win this?
First thing I usually do is just to get my king closer to cut your king off. So I would move probably. Is that wrong?
No, that's great. But I'm gonna try to defend. I'm gonna try to make half a point out of this position for black.
Oh. I can't take the opposition because you can just check me. Well, I could, and then I just move in front. What if I just move in front? Then you would just move forward.
Yes, so you were saying that I might push the pawn. What would you do in this case?
I think I can just go up here. If you take, then I'm in the opposition.
Yes, and where are the key squares for that pass pawn? So before you make a trade like that, exactly. Yes, that's why it's so useful to have that visual tool, because in positions where you have more pawns, but you need to see in advance if that trade is good for you or not, because you cannot take your move back, obviously. So you cannot just try and see. You need to be sure. You need to be sure before you push your pawn there.
True. I am so used to just doing because of puzzles.
Yeah.
When I don't know, I just do something. I brute force it.
I think for training that's really good, because you learn from your mistakes. So you're doing well with the drills that you go and try, and if you make mistake you go back. But in general, I think it's a good exercise to try to visualize your move and what will happen. Try to visualize the resulting position, because that's what happens in your games. You cannot take back, so you have to be sure that what you're doing is what you want. So in this case, really good job that you realize that your king is taking the opposition, and it's also in the key squares, so this is a winning position for white. Well done.
Yes.
Really good job. I'm gonna just slightly modify this final one before we go back to the openings. As a final question, if you have a position like this, let's say, so that I'm not giving you the option of trading the pawn, okay? Let's try to win this as white.
If I check, you go forward. And then I go forward.
What would happen in that position?
A pawn, but then I would take your pawn, I think, on. Or, yeah, if I go here, you go here. That works.
So you're saying that in this position, after I move my king out of the check, you want to play...
I just make you take my pawn.
So if I take the pawn, what will be your response?
Pawn?
Yes, you take that pawn. And that position, where are the key squares for your passed pawn?
E through G6?
Yes. Will your king get there before my king can prevent it?
Oh, it's winning.
Yes, really good job. So, Hafu was saying that if black takes the pawn, now she will take my pawn, And this pass pawn has these key squares. The white king is not there just yet, but the black king is extremely far from preventing that from happening. I can try to stick around and keep attacking your pawn, but then
I mean, I can just move out of the way and then...
Yes, exactly. So you don't need
Move
to
it
care
forward.
anymore about the key squares if my king is on the wrong side of the pawn. I need to be blocking it, not try to be in the shadow of the pawn. I would need to be in front of it, not behind it. Really good job. Well done. One final thing about those pawns, this pawn structure. Let's say this is this position. I don't think you've seen this before, so I'm gonna rely on the fact that you are very smart.
It's one of the drills.
You've done it? Oh, okay. Then
One of the drills.
okay, amazing. I thought that even if you didn't see it, you would know.
G6.
I think you would manage to figure this out even if you haven't seen the drill, because your logic and your thought process is just so impressive that I think you would find the solution without the drill too. But let's see what you remember then.
Thank you. So I have to do a non-move. So the wrong move would be to G6, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Up first.
So you're playing that move first to attack my pawn, and if I play this move where I'm both defending my pawn and attacking your pawn. Really good job. Well done. Now, this is what you were saying earlier, a Zugzwang. Well done.
Zugzwang.
Well done. So that's a German term for a position where it's a must to move, but you don't really want to move. Black wishes that he could just say pass and stay with the king on e5, but you have to make a move. So if it is black to move here, black is losing the pawn. If it is white to move here, white is losing the pawn.
Yeah.
It's a mutual Zugzwang position. Really good job with with figuring out or recalling the right moment from the drill, recalling the right technique. Because as you said, this move is bad because
you can just take that position, and then I have to pawn. Well, I'm gonna lose.
yes,
I'm
yeah.
gonna lose my pawn regardless of what I do.
Will you lose the pawn and make a draw, or will you lose the pawn and also lose the game? What do you think that position is for white?
Well, if I'm gonna lose the pawn and I go here, lose because you're in front. I'm gonna lose.
Yes, the key squares are where you mark them, and the white king is not able to prevent the black king from stepping onto some of the further ones.
We can just go here and then here.
Exactly. Yes. So this is a winning position for black. Very easy to mess these positions up. So amazing job by recalling what's the right technique. I call these positions the minefield because whoever steps on those squares first will lose. So really good job. You want the opponent. You want to force your opponent step on the mine first, and then you can come with your king close.
That's a weird one. There's a drill that is just this. It's exactly this. So I remember it from yesterday.
It's still amazing that you remember so many of these positions because you've studied so much. You have an insane amount of information in your head, and sometimes it can be just confusing that you've seen them, but if you can't recall it fully, you might think of the wrong move because you remember something mistakenly.
Yeah.
Very good job.
Yeah, it's a lot. Every move in chess, it feels like there's so many concepts. It feels like there's a lot.
Do you have any doubts or questions about these king and pawn endgames, or any endgame, before we go to the openings?
The concepts of it, in actual games, I'd have to see because I think it's so easy to attention to the drills. It's so different than an actual match, right? So I think that'll just take time to sink in. Like I said, I was able to win in the end game in one of the games right after I did the drills, and that felt really good.
Oh.
Because I knew what to do. I knew how to use my king correctly.
That's amazing.
Honestly, just using the king is like most of it.
Do you remember which game of
perfectly.
yours is that? Can I bring up that game of yours if you remember?
I don't remember. I played a lot in my games.
So it wasn't one of the most recent ones. You wouldn't recognize
Oh,
the
no.
username. Sure.
Yesterday, all I did was lose, except for the last game.
But it's
Did you do
still
drills yesterday, chat?
it's still an amazing feeling. Yeah, I think I was watching drills yesterday. Yes.
How do I look at my games?
So you can search on chess.com. Well, if I would search for your username, but you can just go to your profile by clicking on home and then profile. And I'm gonna open your.
I'm a brewer. I see. Home profile.
And on your profile, you should be able to see a list of games if you scroll down.
Is this one? Oh, I found it. It's this one.
Can you tell me your opponent's name so I open it as well?
See it at this point. I think it was this one. I think it was this one. I'll link it to you on Is this how I show you?
I think you can send me a link on Discord, or if you tell me
I
your
linked it
opponent's
on
name.
Discord.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I have it. Against Maddie B. This game. Let me open it too.
Pretty sure it was this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this one because I felt really good. The last few turns really well, and then I was winning, and then I was able to do a lot, and I was able to Well, he conceded early. But
Do you want to show us which moves you were the most proud of? So from which move number?
I don't know. No, I was running out of time. The game was kind of messy, but I played really bad.
I'm guessing
He just didn't know what to do in the end game. And I brought my king in right away.
Yes.
And started picking at his pawns, and his king sat in the back. So, I mean, that's all it was he literally didn't use his king. His king's on the 8th rank.
Yes.
Rank? I don't know what it's called.
Did you learn about this concept?
Taking pawns.
I'm just curious. Have you learned about the rook on the 7th rank, or you just naturally found the best move in the position?
No, yeah, Andrea was like, rooks on 7th is something, it's like...
Amazing. Then you recalled it very well, and you used it very well in your game. So, as you said, the black king is not doing anything. It's a passive piece, and in endgames, it's interesting because in the opening stage and in the middle game, you want to protect your king as much as possible. You want to make sure there's no harm happening to the king, and you want it as sheltered as possible. But in endgames, the king should be an active part of the attack because there are way less pieces, and the king is yet another attacking piece you can launch in the endgame phase. So that's what you did very well. You brought your king in, and you made sure by placing the rook on the 7th rank, you are cutting the black king. You're pinning it onto the back rank so that it can never be activated. It cannot cross the 7th rank with your rook on the 7th. That's a really good job.
Didn't even realize I was pinning his king. I was just trying to kill his pawns.
You're a natural, Hafu. You just play the best move there. You're dooming the black king onto eternal passivity on the back rank. It cannot be activated. It cannot be brought into the game. It's just an unemployed piece in this case. I like to call the pieces that are not doing useful things that fully unemployed. Like that king is just a very passive observer of the game, but not taking active part of the game. So only the black rook will not be able to defend the position because you have a king and the rook being very active, and that's how you won the game. You placed your rook on the 7th rank, and then you attacked his pawns. Really good job. You started collecting them with the king too. I think this is really, really well done as well on move 35. So after he played move 34, rook g6, you have 2 pawns that can be captured. You can choose to capture the pawn on a6, and you can choose to capture the pawn on f5. Do you remember why you chose the one on f5?
On move 35? 34?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because it's the backwards pawn. It's the... Wait, I can't take the other one.
Which one you cannot take?
I could take the a6?
Yes.
Are you saying I could take a6?
Yes.
Oh, I took that one because I get closer to his rook.
Mm-hmm.
One that is guarding e4.
Yes.
So if he does do something weird, I can just eat the next pawn as well.
Really good job. So you're taking...
pawns I'm displaying.
No, you explained it very well. You took the pawn that is more important because the f5 pawn is the base of black's pawn chain. So once you eliminate that pawn, then the other pawn is in the air too, and you're attacking the rook as well. So this is a double attack. Both the rook and the pawn are hanging. And you can still take the pawn on a6 later. And at the same time, as long as you keep the rook on the 7th, it means that the king is doomed. So you can also keep that move for later to make sure that the king is pinned onto the back rank. But very good job taking the pawn on f5 to then take on e4. And you can take the one on a6 later too, because it cannot run away. Black cannot defend it. Very good job. This is really impressive.
I still haven't done it in a game yet. I always forget.
Extremely good job. And your opponent resigned here because he is about 3 pawns down. And I'm sure he realized that he's playing against an endgame expert. Well done.
Well, I was really happy with this one because it was right after I did the drills.
That must feel great when you can put into practice something you've just learned.
It really does. So that's why I was trying to go through the drills, but then they get really hard.
Which ones got really
Some
hard?
of the drills are ridiculous.
Is there any that you wanted help with, or do you prefer that we go back to opening? So from here on, you can
the attacking ones.
The attacking ones. Shall we take a look at some
Every single attacking one. Sure, yeah, that would be great. Honestly, every single one of these, I don't think I was able to do a single one. So I clicked on 2 because I did this. I have this on my phone, so when I'm trying to fall asleep, I started to do drills.
You're just so dedicated that you literally study chess until you fall asleep. That's very impressive.
Yeah, maybe it's not a good way, because I remember my brain was a little fried and I felt like it was to relax sometimes. I'm taking a break on Saturday.
Yeah, I think sometimes a break is needed, but I still think that you're clearly the Pogchamps participant that is most dedicated to improving their chess. It really is inspiring to see how much time and effort you put into your chess learning.
Well, thank you. It's really hard to get better at chess. Oh my god, there's so many pieces. It just feels like whenever I'm still lacking in so many others, and it falls apart, like my games fall apart.
I've
and
seen a couple of your games and you
like
barely make
10,000
big mistakes.
holes.
And I think
I make a lot of mistakes.
I think
mean,
you're very
must if I'm
critical with
losing.
yourself. You're pretty much like how I treat everything also that I'm trying to learn. But as an outsider, I can tell you that you're being very harsh on yourself, because I think you're saying you started about 8 days ago. So you've been learning chess seriously for a week. And your current level is the level of chess that some people achieve after years. So, Hafu, are you doing well in terms of your chess improvement? What do you think?
I don't want to measure based off of other people. I want to
I
measure it based
know.
off of myself, and it doesn't feel like I've improved that much in the week. So that's why it's frustrating.
Sure. Now,
Because I'm
I
not
like
trying to
that you
beat
are
the
comparing
average
yourself
person.
to yourself. So that's great that that you don't compete with others, but you compete with yourself. But I still think that you definitely know more today than what you knew yesterday. So you're making
Definitely,
progress,
definitely.
and it
I
takes
mean,
time.
yesterday I was trying a bunch of the openings I just learned, so it felt even more foreign.
Hmm.
I didn't realize how important openers were, but now I'm gonna really try to only play those openers so that I can start.
Yes, I think that's a
Like,
good
it'll be more
idea.
familiar.
Yeah, it's good to stick to
Because
one
I didn't
opening.
realize how important that was. I didn't realize. No one told me that it was that important, so I just didn't bother.
Yeah, it also must be confusing that you have so many of us trying to help you, but we tell you different things. So it's important that you stick to the same opening and don't let us teach you many different things for the opening, because that will be a mess if you try to play a lot of different things. It's better to learn one thing very well than know five things briefly.
I agree. I agree, especially in chess when
Yes.
it's like very fragile.
Yes.
Because when they make one weird move, I get really thrown off,
Mhm.
and then I end up spending so much time. Because I noticed the reason I wanted to learn an opening was I realized that in the opening moves I lose like 2 or 3 minutes, and my opponent has like is just making the basic moves, so it's
Yeah.
like instant for them.
Yes. Yeah,
And
that's
so
true.
yeah, I realized that my clock was ticking because of that. So I started trying for openers. But then I realized that even when I'm ahead, I couldn't win. So now I'm trying to go back to basics. I don't know. Maybe I'm jumping around too much.
I think you are doing it well because endgames are essential. So knowing those, what you practice through the drills, the king and pawn games, or when you, I also saw you practicing when you have a rook versus a bishop in an endgame, so an exchange up for
Couldn't
white.
do that. That one's hard. Wait, do you want to do that one with me? I actually gave
Sure.
up.
Do you prefer that or the attacking ones? You choose. You choose what we do.
Hmm.
Up to you, and we
Okay,
can
I think the
schedule
attacking one is
more
more
sessions. So
important.
you tell me which one you want to do today, and we can do others another day. Up to you. You're the boss.
Um. Instead of this, maybe looking more at the openings I play.
Sure, sure. So let's
Best,
bring
actually,
up an
'cause that's the
analysis
most
board.
applicable.
Yes. And then you can practice that in your next games. I'm just gonna make a new analysis board and invite you to that one. Analysis.
Let me go back to live.
Yes, if you are in live chess, I'm gonna invite you again. One moment. Okay. So you should be seeing just the initial position. Do you see the invite?
Oh, am I not in here? Oh, I see it. Sorry.
Awesome. Yeah. Shall we look at your openings as white or as black today?
As black. Maybe let's do the black one, because I feel like black is harder to play anyway.
Sure. So you can flip the board for seeing it from black's perspective. Do you remember the name of your opening as black?
French, the French.
Yes, and I'm extremely happy for that because that is my favorite opening. I'm very biased.
His least favorite.
Yes, I heard Hans saying that he doesn't play that anymore, and he still taught it to you, which I'm really grateful for because I think the French defense is a good opening, and it's been my favorite opening for years. But I also am happy to teach you anything else if you don't like it. So the most important is that you like it, not that I like it. So far, how do you feel
really
about
care.
that?
As long as it's a solid one, then I'm fine. And I don't really know what I have preferences to, so it's whatever. And this is one I've already learned, so I'd like to stick to it unless there's like something people can abuse against it. Then I don't want to do it. But I'm assuming because openings that it's fine. Like it's very solid.
Yes, it is really solid. And it's not the most popular in terms of top level chess, but they do play it from time to time. So even the world champion and the rest of the top players, they've played it a few times at least in their career. So if it's an opening that can be played at top level chess too, then no one should tell you that this is bad. But there are a lot of French haters. Just to tell you, in the chess community, the French defense has its fans, and also the people who are saying that it's just a bad opening. I think they just don't understand it fully. Very good job. So you play those two central pawn pushes in order to fight for the center. And I think Hans showed you that white can, for instance, take the pawn. That's what most beginners would do. And I also believe Hans told you a story when he banned someone because he played it against Hans.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to ban your opponent, but I think it's just Hans' way of saying that if white takes that pawn, usually it's a bit of a cowardly way of playing the opening as white, so to say. It's as if you wanted to achieve a draw, but this is on Hans's level. So if you're playing against a professional player and as white you are just trying to play for a draw, that's what he meant. But I think on any other level this is a perfectly fine move, and a lot of your opponents will play that move, because if a beginner learns openings, so let's say as white you yourself play white as e4, that's your main move, that's your first move. So most of your opponents, I think, play e5 in the games that you practice. Maybe some of them would try this move. Have you seen this move?
I get confused, so I just keep going.
yeah, sure. But the point is that e6 is not that common. So a good thing about the French defense is that most beginners don't learn how to play against the French defense. So that's one advantage of playing this opening. And because they don't learn it, a lot of them will be just tempted to take the pawn, because as you said in your stream, simplifying is just so natural when you only just started out with chess. So you take what you can.
Yeah, less pieces, less chances to blunder. So.
Exactly. So this will be natural. I think many of your opponents will take the pawn, even if that's not the most, it's not the sharpest to play as white, but they will take the pawn because it's a trade. So I'm gonna play moves here as white. Yes.
The Hans, and he went, yeah. 30 times. He just like didn't know what to say next.
You mean when he was explaining the opening?
I'm saying when I explain, I was like, well, I trade because it simplifies the board, and then it makes it easier for me to play because there's less.
It's so logical.
Yeah, for like 30 times in a row. Because he broke. He actually broke. I
think he just forgot when he was at that level, but I fully understand that way of thinking, because everything is so new. There are a lot of pieces. The more pieces, the more trouble. So you just want to get rid of them. You want to trade pieces so that it's easier to see what's going on. I fully understand that. And that will be the thinking of your opponents too. So I think capturing on d5 is one of the most likely that you will see in your own games. So what will you play here? What would you move as black?
Oh, wait. Let me think. I thought I wanted to push this, so I don't want to bring the knight out yet. So I guess I bring in my other knight.
Yes, you can copy what I'm doing. Let's see if after this move what would be your response.
See, I'm already lost. Okay, let me think. Oh. Do you ever check?
Good question. What happens? What do you think white would respond with if you were to give that check?
Maybe develop the bishop.
Mm-hmm. And then your queen, will it be well placed on e7 or not? Just let's visualize your queen on e7 and that white responds with bishop to e3. Is your queen well placed on e7?
Oh.
No.
Because
Why?
ending the d pawn, and I also the rook can pin my queen and my king.
Yes, so very good. You mentioned a couple of reasons if you give that check, but it's good that you asked because checks are very tempting moves and sometimes they are good, sometimes they are bad. This check is not that good because as you said, white can prevent the check, white can respond to the check by developing the bishop, so that's a developing move for white, and your queen is not ideally placed on e7, doesn't protect the d5 pawn anymore as you said, but more importantly you also mentioned that maybe in the future there will be a rook coming to the e file and then your queen is in trouble. And what you can immediately see for the rest of your pieces...
Oh, yeah,
yes,
my bishop is blocked, so I can't even castle myself, so
yes,
it's even worse.
Exactly. Piece placement is so important that you always take care of the harmony between your pieces, that they coordinate well, and in this case unfortunately the bishop gets stuck behind the queen, so you would need to move the queen again to then develop the bishop, and you are losing time, and time is really precious in chess because we can only move one piece at a time, so the more time you lose, the less pieces you are developing. So we will not give that check, but we will try to play something else. What piece would you develop here?
You again, so that I can castle your knight.
Mm-hmm.
On your knight, it pins the queen. They usually just do this, or they do this.
Mm-hmm. So your move would be, which one would you choose? Which bishop move?
I guess I would do. I don't know. I think I would do this one.
Which one?
Here. I guess. Here.
Uh-huh. Yes. Let's say I castle.
I castle.
Mm-hmm. So this is one way with which you can choose this setup if you like it. The only disadvantage of this setup for black is that if you look at the board, everything is the same. It's all as if it was mirrored. You see that all the pieces are exactly the same. They stand on the exact same squares. So the only issue with positions like this is totally playable. The only issue is that since you're playing as black, you're always moving second. So it's as if in a mirror position, you cannot have an advantage because you're not the one who makes the move first, because you are playing as black in this position. So let's say if we keep copying, I know this wouldn't be your plan, but if we keep copying what white does, at some point we will...
Yeah, you just take first.
Yes, yeah. So this is possible. Like, this position is totally fine, and there are lots of games by titled players for positions like this. But I think what Hans was showing you as a potential setup is to do something a little bit different. I think he said, I hope I remember well, this bishop move first, because if you do that move first, and thank you so much to chess.com for rating us, and when I'm training one of the future champions, I believe. I think Hafu is one of the most promising Pogchamps, so thank you so much for chess.com for supporting our coaching session. But if you start with the bishop move and then place the knight here, so the knight normally would come to this square that you chose. That's natural.
Yeah.
So that's totally fine, and in most games, that's what you will see. But if you want to be a bit trickier, you can play the bishop move first and then the knight here, and you are aiming for this setup, that the knights are like this, as if they were protecting each other. The bishop will come here to pin the knight, because you do like pins. I know that. I
can hit here.
You can hit there, and you can still castle the opposite flank. So I'm just gonna make a few random moves to show the setup. This doesn't have to be the move by move play, but just a setup. If you want to play for an attack in the French defense, in a line like this where everything looks so symmetrical, one way of trying to shift the game out of the balance and try to play for an advantage is that you castle the opposite flank. So white has their king on the king side and you castle the opposite flank, which means that this is gonna be a game where both of you will try to launch an attack against the king as quickly as possible. So this is gonna be a race of who will get there first. And it makes the game very exciting when you can play like this, that you have attacking chances on the king side, so you will try to attack here, the white king, and white will do the same on the opposite flank against your king. So this setup is good if you would like a game like this, where you have a very active and aggressive attacking plan. Do you think this is something that would suit your playing style?
I like this more.
Good. I'm glad you like it more, because the other, as much as it's possible. So what you showed as your initial instinct to respond, this, as I told you, this is totally fine to play, but because everything is mirrored, it's very difficult to shift the position out of balance and try to play for an advantage. And I encourage you to try to play for a win in every single game, because you are a fighter and you dedicate so much time to chess that you're gonna crush everybody. So we're gonna try to play for a win in every single game, with whatever color, with whatever opening. But for that reason, a mirror position is not that cool, because it's more difficult to find something that can give you an advantage.
Sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. So then let's try
There's more openings for both players.
Yes, exactly. So let's try to play that setup. I know I showed it very quickly, so feel free to ask me questions, but we're gonna try to go for that not symmetrical setup. Good. I'm gonna play this knight move. Well done. I'm gonna copy your bishop move. I'm gonna castle because I learned I should castle quickly.
And then I guess now you can just respond. Because then I can just move it back. That was actually fine. I think it's fine.
Yes, you can play that. And if I attack your bishop, how would you react to that move?
Good.
Really good. Really good. So by keeping the bishop on that diagonal, you maintain the pin. And that's so annoying when you do that. You can do this in the Italian and also in the French. Maintaining this pin. And you're provoking me to push this pawn. What do you think about a move like this? G4. Is that good for white?
It's bad to push in front.
Yes.
The king is wide open, and then I can do this.
Really good job. Yes, your bishop has where to go, and unfortunately for how the pieces move at chess, the pawns cannot go backwards, and that means that will be a weakened king forever. White can never put the pawn back to g2, and it's something everybody knows, that pawns don't go backwards. So if once you learn how the pieces move, you learn that too. But I think it's still something that at the beginner level, it's not something that's so it doesn't come that natural, that understanding that, oh, okay, I pushed that pawn, so it means my king is weak forever. So this is a very tempting move, that pawn push.
Yeah.
And only a few moves later, maybe white will realize, shoot, I wish I did not play it. So they start regretting that pawn push, but they can never move it back. Really good. So you want to provoke the opponent to play g4 because that's a weakening move. And even if they don't play it, I'm just gonna make some developing moves for white. May or may not be the best.
I remember Hansa showing me to push this pawn.
Really?
But I can also attack this one. Yeah, I remember. Right,
Oh.
chat?
Oh, I think
It's this into this into this.
I think I know what you mean. Let me quickly show you something else. Just so that we know where the confusion comes from. I think he was also showing you. Would that be this setup? He was showing you that in some of these positions.
Ah, when they push forward, and then I can push this.
Yes. So you will push that pawn when white doesn't take your pawn on d5.
Pushes forward.
Yeah. It's confusing, but we're gonna practice.
Confusing.
Yes,
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna practice this because you only have seen it once, so it's normal that the lines get mixed up. But it's good that you asked. I was curious why you keep pushing the c pawn, but you remember well that in other lines, if white doesn't take it, you will always push c5, because a disadvantage of the French defense is that you have less space. So you're allowing white to create quite an advanced pawn structure in the center. White has more space because white has managed to push those pawns further. And therefore, in the French defense, you need to fight for the center right from the start. You need to counterattack in the center. You don't just give up space and let white have all the benefits of having more space and more activity for their pieces. You want to fight back immediately, so you push c5 because you need to challenge the center of white. So really good job that you remembered c5. Now in the other position, we will not do this, but instead let's play that move by move again. So I'm playing as white this position, and I'm gonna take on d5, and I'm gonna develop my knight. Really good. I'm gonna copy the bishop move. Well done. So this is where it stops being a mirror position.
Well, first, right? But the
You can choose the move order. So you will want to pin the knight on f3, or you can develop your other knights. You can choose that order. I'm gonna try to chase your bishop away in case I get lucky. But then I realize I'll have to push g4, and that will be a weakening move. I still think a couple of your opponents will play g4, but even if they don't, we still are happy having the bishop out there. So that's good.
Fair.
I'm gonna play this knight move and see how you react to it.
Oh, this knight out. So then, you're attacking my pawn, but you're only attacking it once. I'm pushing the a pawn forward one, or like a castle. I hate this knight.
Tell me why you hate the knight, and why do you want to push the a pawn? So you're afraid of something. You're afraid that the knight will jump to b5.
Cause I hate that thing.
Tell me more about that. What's annoying about it?
A nice position, because it can take c7 eventually if he's able to threaten it. Like with, I guess I don't have to be scared of it because my bishop is guarding the square. But it's like my gut instinct when I see this play to do that. But I guess I don't have to be worried yet.
It's good that you think of what is a potential threat. So that's a very good way of thinking. But you are also right, because you have the bishop on d6, you shouldn't really be scared. You don't have to be scared because you have the bishop and the queen guarding the c7 pawn. So just because the knight will jump to b5, it's gonna be very difficult for white to bring even more pieces to the attack of that pawn. Well done. So even though it's scary, it's not too bad, right? Well done, you're developing the knight. Let's say I make a careless move. Still a developing one, so it's not too bad, but I might have missed something.
Oh. Yeah.
Well done.
I take this because you're still pinned.
It is pinned. Really good job. So I cannot take the knight because of the pin. The queen would be hanging. And if I try to trick you and now play g4 so that then I can take your knight.
Oh, well, it's check first. So the pawn first then. Lose that. That doesn't work either. Huh. Oh, I guess I have to take then, right? I have to take.
Yes, so you came to the conclusion that you need to take because the bishop is hanging and the knight is hanging, but this is a check, so it's an intermediate move that you capture with a check, and after queen takes f3,
then I can run.
You can run. Really good job. Now, I'm gonna say in this position that, okay, I have lost that pawn, but I then realize that I can also take your pawn. So I'm curious, how would you react to this move?
Huh? A minute lesson.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, do you want some food?
Oh, I'm okay right now.
Okay.
I have a
I'm
lot.
impacted, so.
Oh. Wait, what is it?
It's brisket and potatoes and salad.
I want some. I want some. That sounds good. It smells good.
Yeah, you go ahead and eat it first. You pick it, and then I'll just leave you all the scraps.
Sorry, Anna.
Oh, that you're being
my God,
good.
that looks so good. But
You're taken really good care of. I am not getting hungry. I'm getting hungry too.
Oh, she's wagging.
I'll take her out, but here you just.
No. I don't eat for forever.
Okay, you're gonna wait. Okay, I'll just sit.
Just give me a little like half.
Okay, well,
Looks really good.
How much of this do you want? How much of this do you want?
Huh?
How much of the sides do you want? Because the sides are hard to split. You want half of the side? Okay.
Here, Phillips.
Do you want any of the salad or anything? Because you don't eat the salad, usually. Just said.
Why? Sorry, Anna. Sorry.
No worries. Food is important. Food is important.
Send me some. Okay. He wants me to eat first because he eats way more than me, but I'm probably not gonna. I don't like eating on stream, so it'll be a while. Anyway, okay, so it's my move. So you took it. So I'm looking. Okay, so if I do take this and then you take, it's not that good. Let me think. My king exposed, which is even worse. Well, I would castle. That's what I would do.
Castling is a safe option because you get your king into a more sheltered place. Right now, the e-file has no pawns anymore, so it's an open file, and that could make your king
The rook, yeah.
be in danger.
Scared.
Yes. So castling in this position is a natural way of continuing, and it's safe. So that's good that you think of those safe moves. But I'm gonna ask you to consider my move as dubious, and try to refute it. Try to prove that I cannot just go and grab that pawn. And this is gonna be a level of tactics that is not easy to see. So I'm gonna need full power, big brain time, and try to refute this knight takes d5 move. It's bad for something. There's a reason why it's not good.
Okay, so you stop defending this square, square. Does that change anything? Yeah. Or if I take this and you take me, do you stop hitting something? I see it.
You see it?
Knight. Yeah, I think I see it. So if I take your knight
Yeah.
thing and then I check and then I take your queen.
Wow. Well done.
Puzzle. I think I've seen this in a puzzle.
Amazing. So you take the knight, and if I capture the knight,
Yeah.
bishop check, you're sacrificing the bishop, but because of the check, you're also opening up the d5 for the queen, and I'm gonna lose my queen. Well done. That was amazing. This is not easy at all to see tactics like this. Really good job there.
I think I've seen this in a puzzle.
Well, but just because you saw it in a puzzle, it doesn't mean that it will be so easy.
I don't think I would see it in a game. Like, I don't think I would see it in a game, but maybe if I play this position enough that I would remember it, you know?
Really good job.
Because I don't know how fast it takes
For these to be
like,
more
I feel
natural.
like yeah, for puzzles to become naturally, this I would say is a complex puzzle, because like the puzzles, these are the hard ones.
Yes.
The points it like this.
Yeah, of
I
course.
usually lose the puzzle
Yeah,
and then I try over and over again. But it would take for me to, like, how many times I would have to see this situation to pick up on it. Because I know for you see this and you like instantly know. Like, I know whenever Andrea was coaching me, she was watching a game and she would go like, oh, every time there'd be a puzzle. And then, you know, if
Yeah.
someone were to gasp every time you have a chance, then of course you can maybe find it. But in a real game, you can't like time to analyze every situation like that. So
Yes.
I wonder.
yeah,
For me to be
I
able to
get
actually
what
see
you
it.
mean, because after years of playing chess, it becomes natural. But I think that by solving more and more puzzles, and that's what you do, you practice so much. So the more you solve puzzles, and I would suggest that you solve puzzles every day, even if just for a few minutes. But it's kind of
Yeah,
like
I do.
good. That's really good, because I think the frequency that you do it regularly is more important than for how long you do it, because it's kind of like
It's
warming
true.
your brain up. It's almost like if you go to the gym, you want to do a warm up. So I consider the puzzles as a good warm up for your brain in general. So you probably will play your games better afterwards, because your senses are more open to seeing these patterns too. You are looking for those patterns. You're more alert. And one thing that can make you more alert is if you look at this position, this knight is protected by the queen and attacked by the knight. I call these pieces semi-loose pieces. It's just a term I came up with. It's not an official term, but I think it can be useful, because if a piece is loose or semi-loose, so undefended pieces would be like the b2 pawn, right? That's completely not protected. But looking at loose and semi-loose pieces being pieces that are attacked and protected by the same number of pieces, those are the pieces that can get into trouble. So something that's not protected, or
Yeah.
something that's protected and defended by the same amount of pieces, and the king. So with tactical motifs, you want to look at loose and semi-loose pieces, and the king always. The king is always in the center of most tactical motifs because the king is the objective of the game. So the king and loose and semi-loose pieces. If you find a way in which those you can combine patterns. So in this case, this was a combination of a semi-loose piece, and then the queen becomes loose. So not only the knight was semi-loose, once you trade, the queen is now a loose piece. And if you combine this with the king's situation, which you always, every move, if you look at the king's situation, then you will find it because you're looking at the loose piece and you're looking at the king.
I don't know if I'll find it, but yeah, that's a good way to. That's a good way to. Yeah, I mean, the concept of remove the defender is, but also moves like making him react to the check.
Yeah.
And then this is the pin.
Mm-hmm. Very good job.
This is tricky, but yeah.
Very good job. I don't know if Andrea taught you, but we call a move like this. So what White did, we called that the Bottas Gambit. Not for Andrea, but for her sister Alexandra, because Alex oftentimes loses her queens in games when she plays. And it became such a meme on her channel that it's called the Bottas Gambit when you lose your queen. So
I've heard it.
it comes from positions like this. So here it would be White playing the Bottas Gambit in honor of Alex, for sure. In honor of Alex. Alex is one of my best friends, but we keep trolling her in my community because we have an event called Sub Battles on Sundays where her subscribers play against my subscribers at chess. And it's just an ongoing battle, and the stakes are always high. So this time Alex will need to change her Twitter banner to a beautiful one that my community made. That's a Anna Rudolf #1 simp, and it's just like little heart emojis all around. That's gonna be
that's adorable.
That's gonna be Alex's new Twitter banner for a day, hopefully. But yes, the Bottas Gambit. I always say we accept the Bottas Gambit, but we don't play it. So you don't want to give up your queen, but you are happy to accept it. That was very good that you spotted this tactical motif and you saw it once in a puzzle. So it's amazing that you could recall that pattern. Really good job. Really good job. Let's go back to the very beginning, and I'm gonna try to play in a different way without playing the Bottas Gambit. I'm gonna try to keep my queen safe. So I'm gonna play e4. And now I'm gonna take. Well done. I'm gonna castle. Good. Now, even if your opponent doesn't play h3, that bishop is annoying where it is, so it's quite a natural reaction though to try to chase it away, and you're gonna be stubborn, keeping the pin. Really good job. I'm just gonna try to play different moves to confuse you.
That, but if I push up my push up, because you can't go here.
That's true.
Not worry about your bishop. I guess it's not doing a whole lot because I don't really need to move my knight. It's defend this, but you're not attacking it yet. Ignore it. Or I could deal with it. But you're right. The gut instinct is just to push it away because it's annoying.
Yes. Yeah. It's a good instinct, but you are right that at the moment White is not threatening anything in particular. The pawn is not hanging on d5. so that's good.
I guess I just keep developing then.
Really good job. So I will have to either take care of this, because you are now threatening once again to take that pawn, or I should counter attack. But I'm just gonna play it safe and protect that pawn.
Okay, well. Well. I could move my queen up to try to castle.
Very good job. Yes, I was curious if you would go for that. Really good. So we are trying to castle the opposite flank in order to counter attack. I'm just gonna bring out as many pieces as I can. Nicely done. So you castle queenside. And then let's try to see if you find a way to attack. Have you seen, or if you have had any games of yours where you would castle the opposite flank? Have you played any games where the kings would be not on the same side?
I think so, but I mean, usually I'm more worried about every other piece. It's really like I just started thinking more about checkmating because honestly, at my rating, people just wait for the other person to blunder a piece. It's a lot less.
Yeah.
True, because I'm always like thinking about chess is, you're keeping track of like so many pieces, right? And it's not for me to just remember like, okay, counting how many attackers and how many defenders. I feel like I count like 8 times per to make sure, because I'm worried I'm gonna screw it up.
But that's a very good way of thinking. It's really useful to check every move. What is your opponent threatening? I always suggest that every time your opponent makes a move, you check what is that move doing. Is it a threat? Is there anything that's in danger? So you always need to make sure that you check those one move blunders. And as you said, at beginner level, it is the reason why most games are decided that your opponent would lose a piece or two. So free pieces, blundering pieces is of course the main cause of losing games, and it's good that you are alert, and so you take more care of your pieces and you are alert and aware that your opponent might be just hanging a piece. So it's always good to keep that in mind. But let's pretend that this is one of the Pogchamps that prepared very well. I don't know who could that be, because so far I've seen you studying a lot, but I haven't seen the rest of the field studying that much. But let's say they try to catch up with you and not hang pieces. How would you try to attack? You can play that move, but let's try. That's a good move because this is an open file, the only one, and you want your pieces.
But also, you're pinning my.
Yeah, you're stepping out of the pin. Good. That's a good move. And in terms of the pin, I'm just going to show you one thing that's very typical for this setup. So it's a move that I think you were told not to play, to push your F-pawn. Is that the case? Do not play.
Oh, the reason why I shouldn't push my F-pawn is because before I castle.
Yes.
But it's okay after, I guess.
Yeah. Sure, you're very right about that. So we don't want to push that pawn before, but once you have castled, especially since your king is on the other side. So if your king was on this flank, depends on the position. But since your king is on the complete opposite side, actually these pawn pushes will be something that help you. So for instance, now if the bishop retreats, what could be a follow-up here for black? You want to attack on the king side. You want to attack the white king. And in order to get there, we need to open up the position on the king side. So we are launching our pawns. This is called a pawn storm. You are literally just marching forward with the pawns. Really good. You can trade the bishop if you want to. And how could you open up the position on the king side, or start opening it up? What moves could be
keep pushing pawns?
Yeah, because if you trade pawns, they will create open files. So if I take this pawn,
And I... Ooh. No, I still want to take with this.
yes, you can take
So I
with
could
the
take it with
bishop or the queen.
But then my, Would I ever take it with the queen?
What do you think?
I don't think so.
Queen or bishop?
Oh, but if I take with the queen, I also threaten g3.
Yes, good job. Good job. So it's a more forcing move.
Yeah, see, I would be really sketched out to do this because I'd feel like they can trap my queen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good job that you were looking at the knight on e7 in case, because you're moving the one of the defenders away from the knight, but
And
you have the
there's-
c6 knight. Good job. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
So in just a few moves, by pushing your f and g pawns, you have managed to open up partially the king side, and you started damaging white's defense in front of their king. You're already attacking the g3 pawn. Those pawns are doubled and they are weak. They are not in a healthy pawn chain, so they would normally be helping each other. But if they are in front of each other like this without any other pawn next to them, they are called isolated. And so they are doubled and isolated at the same time. And that's just bad because they cannot help each other if they are placed like this. So the g2 pawn cannot protect the g3 pawn. White will have to use the king to protect that pawn. The king or the knight, but there's no pawn that can help create a better defense here. So let's say I move the king here. How would you continue attacking on the king side?
I could either bring my rook in or my knight in. If I move the knight here, it attacks this. If you take, I can still take.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it would be my knight.
Yes, so if you move the knight closer, I can take it with the bishop to eliminate one of your attackers.
But that is wrong.
Not necessarily wrong, but I think you learned that the defender will try to trade as many pieces as possible, because if I get to trade your attacking pieces, we will end up in an endgame. So in an endgame, my king will be less in danger. The more pieces I can trade, the better chances I have for survival when it comes to an attack.
So then maybe bringing my rook out to protect the queen so she can push forward.
Uh-huh. So the move would be?
This one, oh, but then I leave this piece hanging. But if you attack there, then I just move forward.
Mm-hmm. Really good.
Again, so it's okay to bring the... doesn't matter which rook.
Which rook would you want? You can move both there, so which one do you think?
Which one? Because then otherwise I trap my other rook.
Mm-hmm. Good thinking.
H1.
Yes. Really good job.
Then I have a forcing move, so
Yeah.
it's not that scary.
Yes, so if white takes
Okay.
the pawn on h7, let's calculate that line. I would like you to visualize bishop takes h7, and what happens after queen takes g3. Where can the white king go, and what will happen afterwards?
Up. And then I take g2, and then you're dead.
Yes, checkmate. Really good job. That would
Yeah.
be
So it doesn't matter if it's hanging, yeah.
really good job. That's checkmate. So very, very well spotted that it doesn't matter that your pawn is hanging. The other pawn is more important. That's next to the king. This pawn is really far from your king. So when you castle opposite flanks, you create unbalanced positions like this, where you can just go for a pawn storm. You just launch your pawns, and you try to open up the position by creating pawn trades. And once you have open files like the g file, that gives your pieces the opportunity to attack the king. White can of course still defend if they play well. They will find moves with which they can defend. So you will still have to continue playing the game. But this is a good start that you managed to, from a symmetrical position that would be just a very boring mirror position if you were to play the most natural moves.
Wait, can you bring it
Oh,
back?
sorry. we can. Sorry. Here.
In this position. I'm looking for the next move.
Oh, right. Sorry. I didn't realize.
Sorry, I just because if I get to here, I actually
Yes.
don't know if I could win because I don't see where else I could attack because everything feels defended.
Yeah, there's no immediate win. So this would be the type of position where you need to look for ways in which you can further make progress in the position. But there's nothing immediate. So let's try to find ways in which you can bring more pieces into the attack, or find new routes toward the White King. So one way in which you're attacking already is the G file. You're attacking the G3 pawn, but White has managed to protect it both with the Knight and the King. So you would need to try to create, either you would need to bring even more pieces of yours into the attack. That's one way in which you can make progress. Or you should try to use the existing pieces but through different routes, if you can find a different path. So this king, where else do you think this king could get hit from? So we are trying through the G file. Could you picture another way in which that king
the H file?
The H file, yeah, the H file is open toward the king. There's no pawn. White does not have any pawns in front of the king. So that's in the future a potential way in which you can attack it. So let's try to think of ways in which you can either bring more pieces or get to the H file, or both. Maybe you can combine those ideas.
I see. I mean, immediately I see like I can push this pawn twice just to get this thing out of the way.
Good. So that's...
I guess I lose the pawn, but it would... No, I would take it back.
So you're trying to use your F pawn as another attacking piece. You're adding that to the attack. You have the queen, the rook, and the bishop. Well, the bishop is helping somewhat, but not against G3. But this one, really good idea to attack G3 with yet another piece. Well done. Good job. So if I were to move, let's say, my queen out, I'm just gonna make a random move.
It's not pinned, so I'm just checking to see if your knight can go anywhere.
Yes, good thinking.
It's fine to just move it forward again then.
Very good job. So now you're attacking
But
my
then
pawn.
If you go there...
What would happen if
Here?
White takes the pawn?
Okay, if White takes the pawn and I check... Check. You move forward.
Yes.
I can't calculate this.
No worries. There's not always a mate in two that you need to see. So oftentimes it will be just a position that still keeps going. So White can take that pawn. You will take on G3. The White king has to go back either to H1 or to G1.
And then I can just move my rook, I guess.
Where would you move the rook?
H file then.
Really good. Why would you move the rook back
Then
to
it's
where it comes from?
protected here.
Yeah. It's really good that you realize that it might make sense to go back to where it comes from, because that's the rook you moved. It was on H8, it was there, and now you're going back. But the position has changed. There used to be a pawn on H7, and now, because White has taken, it's an open file for your rook. Really good job. Well done.
Oh, and then I can move this back.
Yes.
Turning it too. And then I can shove.
Well
I
done.
guess it doesn't really shove though. It doesn't win, right?
That's the right plan. Really good job. That's the right plan. I'm gonna make some moves to see if you can execute it, but that is the right plan.
That too. I don't know. I'm gonna do this.
Well done. So you want to get rid of my bishop. I have to take it because you're attacking both my queen and the bishop, so I've got to take on g6. Nicely done. You are bringing the knight closer too. It's important that you didn't want to take back with the queen.
Yeah.
Why did you decide that the knight move is the right one? What was your reasoning?
Because I don't want you to be able to trade.
Good. Yes, I would be happy to trade queens because without your queen, that's the most valuable piece and also the most dangerous attacking piece. So without queens on the board, this mating attack would probably be not harmful at all. But I will probably get mated because there are queens on the board. So white would love to trade queens, and it's good that you don't allow it. Very good thinking. Plus, your knight is also coming into the game, so you will be able to jump to f4, for instance, and also use the knight in the attack if you need to. Very good. Let's say I played this move to bring my rook.
Oh, it's fine.
Good. It's good that you check it. It's
so-
really good that you check it.
Do just attack.
Well done. You're improving your knight, so the knight is becoming also a really dangerous attacking piece now, closer to the white king. I have to move the rook. It's hanging. Doesn't have many squares to go to. I cannot come here, as you checked it. I cannot really come here, nor here, nor here, nor here. So I'm gonna use this square by process of elimination.
Okay, next move. I still feel like it's super locked. There's rook here, but you would just take it, so that's not a good move.
True.
I could move. Check is here. You would take. Go here. You take. Do I sacrifice a knight here?
You can consider it, and you can also consider whether there's a way in which you can bring even more pieces into the attack. So you have your pawn, the queen, the knight, and the rook already very dangerously targeting the white king.
Oh, because we're already blocking off this piece.
Yes.
So I gotta bring my rook, or I can just move this down. If I move this down, do I threaten mate?
Good question.
Can you go?
So if you move the
Wait.
queen there,
But then you just take this, right?
well done. Yeah, so this would be a
So it
great
doesn't
move.
work.
This is ideal to have a queen and rook battery on an open file that threatens mate in one, but you spotted the defense. White will take the pawn, and unfortunately losing that pawn is pricey. That pawn was not letting the king escape. Very good. You spotted why it shouldn't be played, but that's the right idea. The H file is open and you can use that for creating a mating pattern. So let's think of a way in which you can bring your heavy pieces to the H file but not lose the pawn on G3.
So I have to bring maybe the rook
The rook where?
over to the H file. But how do I do that with your stacked rooks? If I go up and you go down.
Yeah, good that you're
kinda
thinking
sad.
of that move because I will want to trade as many pieces as I can, of course, especially that rook.
What the? Okay. Oh, I don't see it. I don't think I see this one.
So you would like to move the queen to h5, or you would like to move the rook to the h file, right?
Oh, so I need to protect this pawn?
Yes.
The rook there.
Great! If you bring the rook, you are now also bringing that rook into the attack, because it wasn't that much involved on d8. Now it's becoming part of the attack, of the attacking pieces. So you are using more and more of your pieces to launch a mating attack, and that rook is now protecting the pawn too. So you are threatening to play the move you wanted. And if white plays, let's say, I've got to try what move to play. If it's opposite side castling, your opponent also might be tempted to do the same as you did, but it's always the question of whose attack is faster. So
Who has more time? Yeah.
yes.
So now I can go down.
Yes. And since you have protected the pawn on g3, now you are for real threatening mate, and knight takes g3.
Wait, but can't you take this?
Which one?
This? Okay, if you take this
Yeah?
pawn now...
Yes?
Have an escape.
Yes. It might be the case that capturing that pawn is still the best way for white. I mean, best way, because if white doesn't take it, white gets mated next move. So white will probably have to take it regardless. But you are winning a piece, so you have captured the knight for a pawn. And it may not be mate in a few moves. I mean, you are still threatening with that check. So even though the king has a square, you have already won a knight, and your attack is still going on. So there's still loads of threats. Queen h1 and rook takes g2 is also a threat.
Okay. Wait, yeah.
So for instance, a way in which the game could finish here would be, let's say white goes on with their attack on the queen side.
I guess first no. So if I go up here, you go here, and then I go here. Good.
Well done.
Here.
And that's check. And
Checkmate.
checkmate. Really good job.
Oh,
Well done.
I don't know if I could spot this in a game.
We are learning. So this it's
Also, I would get freaked out. I get freaked out when I see this, and especially when I am like this. Like I would have made a.
it's normal.
Try not
I
to
think
swear.
it's a normal reaction that when you see that your king is also attacked. So now white tried to push. I was just making these aggressive looking moves to try to attack your king, but your attack was way faster. So while white only has managed to advance that one pawn, you already have opened up the h file by pushing your g and f pawns earlier, and you brought almost all of your pieces to the king side. So you managed to shift the queen, the two rooks, and the knight to attack the white king, and that's how your attack succeeded, because you have had so many pieces. You've opened up the position. You weakened the opponent's defense with those pawn pushes. If you remember when you played f6, g5, g4, do you remember that part of the game? Because that's a standard plan. You castle queenside. So this setup, you have your knights, the bishop, the queen out to castle this flank. This is the setup we aim for, and the bishop pinning the knight. And then when you have this setup already, that's when you will usually go for f6 and g5 and g4, and just try to tear open the king side and target the white king.
Write this down.
Yes. Really good job. I'm really impressed with how you executed the attack, and this is the first time you saw this type of position. because Hans showed you the setup, but I don't think he went into what happens afterwards. So this was a next step from just knowing how you place the pieces, what is the setup, and then what's the plan. So the plan is to launch an attack against the white king, because opposite side castling means that both players will go really aggressive with these pawn storms, and they try to speed up their attack as much as possible to get to the opponent's king faster.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense move by move. I think in the moment I get really caught up because it's hard for me to visualize sometimes, and even like when you cleared the board, I was like, wait, really?
Yeah, I'm so sorry I moved it away when you were still thinking.
No, because like from that spot, even if I can get to that spot, I usually feel like I can't deliver a checkmate, and then I usually am freaking out, so I'm trading pieces, which is bad.
Yeah. It's natural, I think. You've just started playing chess.
It's really natural to offer trades.
It is. It is really.
But...
I'm telling you, I spent most of my life playing chess, and if I'm freaked out, I will still want to trade. So it's a natural reaction, really. Don't worry about it. Just tell yourself that since you have been training so much, you shouldn't worry. You're really so committed, so dedicated to your chess learning that I'm telling you that there's no other participant, at least not that I'm aware of, that would be this much dedicated to preparing for the event as best as they can. So everyone is trying, of course, but I haven't seen anyone putting this much effort and hard work into it. And you should be very confident because of that. So I want you to keep going, keep solving puzzles, keep doing drills, but also I think it's a good idea that you take Saturday off, because it can be too much information sometimes. So give yourself some time to, but believe in yourself, because you are doing so much. You're working your ass off, lady, and it should get its reward.
And probably some other participants are going to come up with a counterplay to my plays, because I'm doing it all on stream. I guarantee David is going to ask a coach to give him a counterplay to mine, 100%. So I have to prep for that, because I 100% know him. Since he's not putting up in as much time, he's just going to try to cheese me.
It might happen, but as you said, it's not just about the opening moves. Most games will be decided because of blunders, losing pieces, because someone hangs the piece, or because there will be tactical motives like the one you spotted earlier when you won the queen with that check, if you remember that position.
I don't even think I could redo it. There's no way I could redo it. I'll have to... Oh man, I wonder how many times it takes to see it.
Good question, but I think because you are practicing every day and you're solving puzzles, you're gonna recognize tactical patterns more and more often. So it's gonna become more and more natural, and that alarm will ring in your bell in your head, because this alarm bell, as you said, like when Andrea was like, oh, there's something. It's gonna happen to you more and more often when a piece is hanging on. There's like a fork, or you can win the queen with a knight check. So the knight would give a check and also attack the queen. Like those things will happen in your games, and you will start to have that bell ringing in your head, like, oh, there's something, warning, alert. It's gonna happen.
In this game, we're focusing on our attack, but I feel like in most games, I'm also focusing on their attack.
Mm-hmm. It's good that you're focusing on their attack too. Yeah, but that's great that you take into account your opponent's play and ideas, because it's two players, and it's also a big mistake at beginner level that they only care about their own plan and not what the opponent is threatening. So it's good that you're thinking of that. Really good job.
Also remember to not push the A pawn or H pawn unless there's a real threat of the knight being there.
Yes. And in this setup, remember that you can push straight away the F pawn and then the G pawn. You don't even need to touch the H pawn, because it's a different... Your king is not on that flank, so you can push the F and G pawns instead to attack.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I'm really proud of you for today, and we can do another session anytime you want. So you just let me know about your schedule. I know you have also the other coaches helping you. So whenever it suits you, whenever it syncs up with the rest of your streams and the rest of your coaching sessions. But I'm really happy to help you because I do think you are the one that puts in the most effort, and I want to help someone who is this committed, because it's inspiring to see how much effort you're willing to put into it, really.
Helped a lot. I think I understand the pun. I understand opposition a lot better. I think I was starting to understand it yesterday, just doing the drills, but today I think it cemented it. I think I still have to practice it. I'm gonna just run through the drills once a day or once every 2 days, just to make sure I constantly see it.
That's a good idea.
And also, this is really helpful because through some of the scenarios in the French, I think I just have to continuously do that because keep playing the same opener. I think I'll improve a lot faster.
Yeah, definitely. So
consistent opener.
Yeah, it's good.
Doing anything on black.
Exactly. If in your next games, if you can just stick to the Italian and the French, and just as you said, stick to the same openings, and don't be too worried about the other Pogchamps seeing your preparation, because this opening, for instance, as black, I've played it already for almost 2 decades at this stage, at least 15 years or so, and people can see my games, but this opening doesn't have a so-called refutation. So even if they are taught what's the best way to react to it, you are in just a game. It's a balanced position where both players have different ideas and strategies. So even if your opponent will know the opening that you play, it still is just a game. It's not gonna refute what you are doing.
Thank you so much. I definitely learned a lot. Like, this was super helpful because you're right that I'm getting coached by a lot of people, so I'm learning a lot of different things that are jumbling. But this lesson especially was helpful since I already had a foundation and you just built on top of it. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
And
I'm glad
really
that you
nice
feel like that.
Like, even checked out the VODs to see what I was working on, and that means a lot that you're trying so hard to help me. So I appreciate that a lot.
It's the least. I was watching as much as I could when you were live, but obviously our time zones are different. So I was like, I need to go back to the VOD and see what other endgames you did and what did Hans say. Like, I wanted to know also what the other coaches said. So it was great that you, in yesterday's stream, you summed up what Andrea taught you, what Chiyu taught you. You were telling Hans what their different openings. So it was like a great summary for me too, to know, like, so that we don't teach you all different things, because you're gonna have a mess in your head. It's gonna be a chaos.
It was pretty messy, but now I'm starting to hone in on some key ideas and at least key openers.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I have to just continuously do drills and puzzles.
Those are good ideas, and you keep practicing these openings in your next games, and from then on we're gonna build on that. So you just let me know when you want to study next, and I'm very happy to help you.
Thank you, Anna.
Have a great day, and I can't wait to see your progress, because I can check your profile and your VOD. So remember, I'm gonna be lurking. Okay. Have a nice day, everybody, and talk to you later, Hafu. Goodness me, she has been studying chess for 8 days, and this is her level, 1,000 rating, and just solving the puzzles and endgame drills that I gave her impeccably. Like, I really don't know. She's a natural. She's so smart and so hardworking, so dedicated. She deserves all the success. I'm so rooting for her, really. She is amazing. She's amazing. What do you guys think? I need a sip because I'm like, oh my god, I'm overwhelmed. She's brilliant. Oh my.